I can do one if you want.
That's good.
No, just kidding.
Are
But
you
Israeli accent is very heavy. You know, if you want me to do Israeli accent, it's the best.
are you born there?
Yeah, yeah. I was born here, but I grew up around English. So
Okay, but in Israel.
yeah, in Israel.
Yeah, it's wild. I can't hear your accent at all. That's wild. Do most people not have an no, most people there have an accent, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like the Israeli accent is very. You can hear it. You can hear it. I can do one because it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's like a very, you hear the reish and the chet, and you can speak like this, and you translate terms from English, such as why like this, why like this.
How old are you?
I'm 37.
God, you look young. I was gonna
Thank
say
you.
I imagine you to be older. You look so young.
Now I'm 37.
Hey, where are you? So people know. I'm gonna pull up a map. I just
Where
put
am
in.
I?
I just put in. Are you at CrossFit? Say say your first name for me. Is it Tomer?
Yeah, my first name is Tomer.
Uh huh.
They call me Nico. I
Nico.
saw
Okay.
this. I was on the thread.
Okay.
That's what they call me ever since I was in 8th grade. It's a long story.
Okay. It's a good name.
But
Both of them are good names. Tomer and Nico are good names.
yeah, yeah, Nico's from an Argentinian telenovela. But yeah, that's exactly where it is. But I'm not there right now. I'm at the hospital. I'm in Ramat Gan, which is a little bit east of Tel Aviv. So about 30 minutes
And
drive.
do you work at the hospital also?
Yeah, yeah. I'm a psychologist at Kids Hospital in Tel Shomron.
Oh wow. 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 So you have three. You're a parent, gym owner, uh, soldier,
I'm just a coach, man.
and a psychologist at the Children's Hospital.
Yeah,
And Nico, how many kids do you have of your own?
one
One kid.
love of my life, Gali.
Yeah. Hey, you have a beautiful family, by the way. Last night I was scrolling through your Instagram, and I was told my wife, I go, "Wow," and he goes, "What?" I'm like, "These are three beautiful people, husband, child. Your child is a gem. What a special looking
Oh
child you
yeah,
have."
she's
Yeah.
amazing. She looks a lot like my wife. Luckily, my
Yeah.
beautiful wife Shira.
Yeah, she is something else. What a good looking kid. Because a lot of babies are ugly. I mean, only the parents love them. You know what I mean? I mean,
Listen, I've
we all
seen
do.
your kids ever since they were young. They look Swedish. So,
It's crazy. Okay, so you are in the country of Israel,
yeah.
and your neighbors are. God, I don't know
Listen,
whether I'd rather
it's
have
a
you.
rough neighborhood. It's a rough neighborhood, Sevan.
I know Armenia's a rough neighborhood too. Maybe we get into a competition who's in a rougher
Yeah, yeah.
neighborhood.
That's
uh,
wild. Armenia is wild. Yeah.
your neighbors are Turkey, Syria, Jordan, Iraq, Saudi Arabia,
Oh
Egypt.
man, don't do that to us. Don't bring Turkey to be our neighbor.
I
We
don't know,
don't want.
close enough. Lebanon. Yeah, and then you got this beautiful body water. How is the water there? Is that pristine water? Is that clean water? Is that like, hey, you can
Yeah,
just go out there
it's
and swim and
of course it's one of the. It's an amazing water. There's even sometimes good waves. In Israel, there's a big surf scene in Israel.
oh yeah, I saw pictures on your Instagram of you surfing. That's
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. I live like a kilometer away from the water, so I surf
Oh,
also.
I had no idea. And it's called the Mediterranean Sea until Trump changes its name to the Israeli Sea.
Exactly. Yeah.
And and can you see Cyprus on a clear day?
No, you can't see Cyprus
You
on
can't see
clear day, but
too far.
too far. But that's the most friendly, close place we can fly to. It's like a 40-minute flight from Israel to Cyprus, and that's a very common vacation people do around here.
And what about ferries? Are there ferries there?
Yes, there are, but it's not that prevalent.
Okay, and something you can put your and how long is that? Is that a day trip, like a 8 hour
No,
trip or something? No.
no, no. I think it's more. I've never done it, but I think it's more.
Okay, and then and just to help people get people even more acquainted, if you completely what is this island out here with the weird names? Right off the coast
That's
of
part
Greece.
of Greece. That's
Okay.
Crete. That's part of
Oh,
Greece. That's also somewhere we go a lot. Well, yeah, that's Greece. Amazing country, amazing beaches.
And
Have you
then
been to Greece? Have you been to the Mediterranean at all?
no,
What's the
I did.
closest you've gotten to the Mediterranean?
I mean, I've been to. I drove from Beirut to Damascus, and then up until the mountains of Musadah before.
Are you joking?
No, I did do that
In
because
what year?
I was very roughly, I would say, 2002.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
Can't
what
do that today, you know.
I suspected, but I didn't know. But I suspected it's real, man. Syria, what a disaster. I spent quite a bit of time in Damascus too. You know, a couple weeks there, and man,
Yeah,
that was a cool place. That was like being
really.
teleported back into. It was like being in an Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, it was a trip, and
yeah. Jordan, Syria.
I knocked
That,
on the door of the house, if you want to call it a house, in Musadah of the where my great grandparents lived and vacated. You know, they had to run during
oh,
the genocide 1915.
no shit. They went to Syria?
Uh, uh, no, sorry. I got confused. So from so sorry. I drove. This is even crazier. I drove from Beirut to Damascus, stayed in Damascus, and then from Damascus drove to Turkey. So I had to
Yeah,
cross both those borders, and we took a
yeah,
cab the whole way.
yeah. That
Like, you
makes
know,
more sense.
we took like one of those old Mercedes-Benz cabs. Have you ever been to Syria?
Well,
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, not I get it. Not on vacation.
not on vacation, no.
Okay. And when I landed I remember the first time I went to Lebanon, I've been there a few times. They had a as you get off the plane, right on the wall, it says, as you head towards customs, right on the wall, there's a big placard. If your passport shows that you've been to Israel, you will be turned back.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's wild. I didn't even know that about Lebanon either.
Well, we're not very good friends with them. We wish we have, but um, some things happen. But you said your grandparents ran away from the genocide. Wasn't the genocide in around 1920 or 17?
Yeah,
The beginning of
1915. My
19?
they were babies. My great grandparents lived in the town, and I think it was just one of my grandparents was like, you know, a couple years old, you know, like 5 or something.
Wow.
And I'm 52.
Oh,
So
looking
my
great. So,
yeah, thank you. And so
oh, you're
so we went
frozen.
up there. Oh, am I unfrozen?
What's wrong? You with me?
I'm with you. I can hear you. And you're good too. I can see you. I froze for you though?
Yeah, you froze.
Oh, okay. Well, I hear you and you're moving good. The signal's great.
Yeah.
Uh
So your grandparents ran away to Turkey from the genocide, which is
no,
crazy, you know?
sorry. Yeah, they ran away from Turkey. Yeah.
Yeah. Ottoman Empire um, ruled the whole area. So it ruled Israel too at that time, you know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Ottoman Empire ruled the whole area, including Israel, including Syria, including Egypt, everywhere. And then after World War One, then the British and the French got the mandate over the whole area. And that's why you see like borders which are like very straight. They did it on napkin and they divided the whole territory. And then there was the English mandate here, and then Israel was formed. Yeah,
Um I, my family, and when I say they ran away, basically their town was being attacked
yeah.
and they fled to the water.
Oh,
And it was French ships. There were French ships in the Mediterranean,
yeah,
and they scooped up the village my grandparents were from, and then they took them to Lebanon, and
yeah.
then they carved out a little town named Anjad, and that's where my dad was raised. And it was, you know, 500 10 by 10 foot concrete structures. You know, no bathroom, no electricity, just you know, cinder block structures, and that's where my dad was raised.
That's East Turkey.
Um,
Turkey's huge.
yeah, it must have been somewhere near the water, because they went from the village to maybe southern Turkey. They went from the village to the water, and then that's where the French ships grabbed them. And thank God they were there. It's kind of crazy. I was thinking about it, ever since what happened on October 7th, Israel getting attacked. I've been thinking about how lucky I'm to be alive and my kids are to be alive, because my wife is Jewish. My wife's Ashkenazi and I'm Armenian. And just the fact that two fleeing people, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
And then we just probably met, and then we met drunk at a party in California, 75 years later.
I think that was the cause of globalization.
Oh, well, good. I don't even know what that is, but good.
Oh yeah. Wow, it's great. Your wife's Ashkenazi Jew. Her parents are in Israel?
No. Her I don't know much about her parents. Her dad died when she was 1. But we had one of our kids 23 and Mead under a fake name. That's like a DNA test. Yeah. And the kid's 51% Ashkenazi and 49% Armenian. We have 3 little boys. And they look like Jumenians. You know what I mean? they just look like little Middle Eastern kids. You know what I mean?
I would mistake you for a Jew. If you could have fooled me for a Jew yourself.
Dude, if I go into a Whole Foods, there's always someone who whispers in my ear, "Nice to see someone from the tribe. Nice to see." And I remember the first time that happened, I was with my wife at Whole Foods. I'm like, "Do they think I'm Jewish?" She's like, "Yeah, that's what we say to each other." I was like, "Oh."
Yeah, it's the nose. You have a very Jewish nose.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. Yours works for you though. Mine looks like like if I take off my glasses, my nose is gonna come off. Like one of those trick noses.
Yeah, for sure.
So tell me, there's a lot to talk to you about. Let me ask you this really quick. Was I WhatsApping with you a couple months after October 7th and we were trying to hook up? Was it you or was it David?
Maybe it was David. I know it wasn't me.
Okay. But how soon after the attacks on Israel did you deploy?
So October 7th, the morning, 6:29 was when it happened. And I was in Greece. I was in Greece with my wife and my family and my brother and my sisters and my sister's partners and everything. And we just didn't know what happened. We started getting messages, and my girl was 6 weeks old, so she was awake already, and I was already, trying to get her back to sleep and stuff. And then I start getting these texts about the rockets that are falling in. I had been in that fence, in that border for a good period of my life, so I know that area pretty good. And when stuff like that happens, it's another round, it's another rotation against Hamas. So we didn't realize at first what was going on.
It seemed like more like status quo at first. Like the Israeli people are so used to an evolution of fighting that they just thought maybe, hey,
yeah,
it's
we
just
call
another...
it rounds. Like it's like
Okay.
fighting. We call it rounds. Another
okay.
Round. It's the stupidest thing ever. So we thought it's another round. We've been. Sometimes these rounds get escalated into ground maneuver, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's just airstrikes, and then there's a mini peace settlement. But we thought it's another one of those. It's every year something like that happens. And then we started getting, the first graphic, intense video that everyone knew, okay, there's something else here, is that we saw the pickup truck, the white one, with all the Hamas terrorists in it, in a town called Sderot. There's a great CrossFit gym there. Dave was with us there. We saw that pickup truck inside Sderot. And that was like a sign of, okay, there's another thing going on here. That's it. Then everything started flowing, and it took a while to really grasp. I don't think we still understand what happened there, but basically the whole country shut down. We couldn't go back. We were stuck in Greece, and it took us a good few days, like I think 5-6 days, until we could fly back. We got an emergency flight because me, my brother, and my sister's partners are all in reserve duty. So we got our warrant. It's called the Warrant 8. It means show up now to your base.
Spell that word for me. Warrant.
Warrant, like a warrant.
Oh, warrant. Okay, warrant
Yeah.
8. Okay.
Yeah. We
And
got, I
how do
think,
they send those to you, Nico? Do they send them by email or text or?
everything.
Okay.
Text, WhatsApp, your personal unit calls you, everything.
And
Just
house
show
and
up.
you were in Greece when you got yours.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, all of us. And if you had that, so you could get an emergency ticket to fly back because you couldn't just get into Israel. So we got an emergency ticket. We all flew back. My brother flew back first. He went up north immediately to the Lebanon border,
Okay.
and I got back, and I was actually stationed as a psychologist already at the command intelligence unit. So I I had nowhere to go and join the war. So I said, okay, no, this is not what I'm going to do in this war. I went back to my old unit. I told my commander, I'm here. What are we doing? He's like, okay, listen. There's this new unit that we just formed. They need officers there. Go. And that's it.
Meaning you didn't want to sit around and wait and talk to casualties, or trauma victims. You were ready to um,
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
suited up and
I'm not
fight.
exactly that kind of psychologist. I'm a sports and exercise psychologist. I'm not a clinical psychologist.
Okay.
So it was more performance based and intelligence shit. But I didn't want to sit around. I wanted to be at my old unit and go there. So I did.
And is the news in Israel the same as the news here? I know it's different everywhere. But in general, was it like, hey, we were attacked, over 1,000 people were murdered, and it's a five.
What I remember from the news, everything's a blur, obviously. But what I remember from the news is first of all, there's like a big banner that says terrorist penetration. Okay, because that's a very known scenario that happens, and we know that that's what they want to do. They want to penetrate the border. Um, it's called actually Turkish cavalry. That's a code name for that.
Okay.
A Turkish cavalry. Um, so that's what they said on the news, and that's something that's happened. It happened in the past up north, and terrorists take hostages and stuff like that, and they kidnap them. It happened before, so we thought, okay, this is bad. This is bad, but we didn't know there are about 68 penetrations.
Wow. Along that where Sudrat is, all in that area.
No, Sderot is just the north, so all over the Gaza border, so all over the strip.
Oh, like even to Riem, even down
Yeah,
there.
Rain is the central, and yeah, all the way up to the south. Yeah.
Okay. So like 10. So we heard there were how many soldiers penetrated the border? Is that been known? Is it thousands?
They say about 2,000 Nukhba soldiers, which is like the raid force of Hamas, and then another 3 to 4,000. It's called the second wave and the third wave. The second wave was regular soldiers of Hamas, and the third wave was citizens who came to loot.
Oh my goodness. So
Yeah.
it wouldn't surprise you if 10,000 people crossed the border.
They say about the estimations are around 6,000. Yeah.
Well, and all around there's a line here. I don't know if you can see it. It says 1950 armistice agreement line. So all along that line, they came across the border.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
That's the fence. That's the fence. That's there's an not electric, but a smart fence with canals and walls and everything, like a big serious hurdle, which we called the sand clock. Obviously didn't work. um, but
And
yeah.
and that border, are there Israeli soldiers along that border 24/7 that are within eyesight of each other? Like, are there towers there?
Yeah, there's like mini bases, um, but that was. Do you know the Israeli holidays? Which
No,
is
I mean, kind of. My wife
you
tells
know
me, okay,
Sukkot.
okay.
Sukkot. Have you heard that Sukkot,
No,
where you build like a shaft?
no.
So there's a holiday called Sukkot. That was the morning of Simchat Torah. That was when supposedly we got the Torah, the Bible, from God. That was the morning of that. So it was we were very numb and not ready. And the forces that were there were at the minimum, you know, like at the
Yeah.
minimum, soldiers go out to be with their families, and and so they knew when to attack, obviously.
That's the first I've heard that. So, it
Yeah,
was on the holiday of when God gave the Torah to the Jews.
yeah, the morning of, yeah, because
Holy,
we keep
that
religious
sounds like an
people.
important holiday, by the way. I'm sorry I don't know
It's
it.
a very happy holiday. Simchat
Yeah.
Torah means the Torah happiness,
Yeah. Okay.
because we're very happy. Not all of us, but some of us are very happy of getting the Torah.
Yeah. Sounds
Uh,
like a good thing to get anything from
and it was
God.
also a Saturday, so it's double, you know. And religious Jewish people, they don't go on their phones or anything on Saturday, so everybody was at the temple, at the Bet Knesset, at synagogues.
Um,
Um,
Let me go back a little bit. Let me freeze here for a second. Let me go back a little bit. And you own the CrossFit gym, CrossFit Rana,
of course, the
and
one and
are
only.
are you the only owner?
Yeah, I'm the
Wha-
sole owner.
Wow. And how long have you had it?
I've had it for 12 years.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Why do you have so many jobs? Why do you have this job in the hospital also to supplement the income of both, or you just love
No,
both?
it's all around sports. I
Okay.
work with kids who suffer from obesity
Okay.
here at the Children's Hospital, and I'm also a sports psychologist here in the National Institute of Sports Medicine, Chiba.
Okay. And there's I saw an Instagram account for that. Let me see if I can find it. It is that's the Savage Mentality.
Yeah, that was my the brand name that I use for my psychology practice. I actually haven't done anything with it since the war, because um, I had a lot of private athletes that I used to work with, but I just couldn't get back to it after October 7th. Another reserve rotation, one after another, so I couldn't get back to it.
And how
But
many
yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah, but that's my private practice. Yeah,
And how many people members do you have in your gym?
around 300.
Oh, holy cow. It's a
Yeah.
wow, what a facility. And Nico, how did you find CrossFit?
Well, actually, me and my brother, who is, I have a brother. He works here too, actually, at the hospital. He's a doctor. And we trained for a marathon in 2011. I was still back in the military. I was a team commander at officers course, and we trained for a marathon together. He's a much better athlete than me. Like, he's always been always one step ahead of me in everything. And he's a year older, and we trained for a marathon. I trained with him, and he said, listen, I found this workout online. I think it would be good for us to do a little bit of strength work. And we did that for the marathon period, Tiberia Marathon 2011. And after that, we just never got back. Well, I got back to endurance lately, but we just stuck with CrossFit.
Did you guys end up doing the marathon?
Yeah,
Oh, how was that? Was that shitty?
it was one of the hardest experiences I've ever had.
Yeah, it sounds brutal. Okay, so you and your brother find it, and are you doing it in an affiliate, or are you just going online and learning?
There was two affiliates in Israel at the time, and my brother was studying in Jerusalem, so one of them was there, and he did it there, and then he started coaching, and then he started coaching us. I was still in the military. And then he started coaching us, me, a couple of friends that joined. We bought a kettlebell, we bought a wall ball, we bought, and it was all in his tiny yellow car. and we drove everywhere. And that was basically the beginning of the gym. You know, it's like a classic, started from the bottom, now we're here story.
Yeah. So, and that's, that's how a lot of us started. That's how I started too. Just bought the equipment, put it in my car, and then you go to parks and try to find places to hang the
Yeah.
rings and places to run. And did you have the little wheel where you measured out your distances for the run?
No, we have a
No.
Garmin watch set on.
Oh, right. You guys are so advanced. And I like it how you have a doctor in the family. Every Jewish family needs one doctor.
Of course, we
And,
need to.
and hey, how
Someone needs to prescribe the medications, you know.
it's right. And and he liked CrossFit, even though he was a doctor and he saw the value in it right away. He didn't get scared of it.
He was a medical student, and he's crazy. So that obviously spoke to him immediately because he's super extreme into fitness, and and nutrition. So that spoke to him, and I think for both of us, the methodology and the rawness and edginess of CrossFit really spoke to us, and we're like, okay, this is home. This is how we want to train.
Yeah, it makes me really happy to hear you say that, because there's a lot of discussion now in the States about getting CrossFit back to what it was, the rawness, the edginess, that basically we were a revolution in health and fitness, squatting below parallel, climbing ropes, doing like truly functional movements. It's like, hey,
we need that back.
Yeah, we don't need to water that down. If you don't want to do that, that's fine, but it needs to be kept for what it is. The saying, your workout is our warm up. It's like, it's okay.
Yeah. We had a shirt that saying, and at some point, I think all of us bought in too much to that. Okay, we want to be more inclusive and for everyone, and grandma can come train here. Yeah, sure, she can come train if she wants to work hard and wants to be committed, but not any grandma can come train here. Just like no 25-year-old can come train here. He needs to be committed.
Right.
He needs to have self-discipline and commitment, and that's it.
And then tell me about opening the gym. Was that a hard decision to be like, okay, what was your plan? Were you going to be a career military guy?
Yeah, so I was. There's a mandatory 3 years in the military in Israel, and I was an officer, so I signed 2 years and then another 2 years, so 7 years in total. And I didn't know. I knew I didn't want to see my kids once every 2 weeks, so I knew that I wouldn't stay that long. But at some point, I was just okay. It's either going to school from the military and signing long-term contract, or get out there. And I got out, started school and the gym around the same year, around 2013. But before that, I did a trip to the States and South America, and I did my level 1 in NorCal at Jason's gym. Yeah.
Oh, what year was that?
2013.
Wow,
I had the craziest level 1 staff, I think, ever in history. It was in Jason's gym, and it was Jason, Miranda, Pat Barber, Katie Hogan, Dave Eubanks, some girl named Michelle, and Nicole was there also. I think she was a flow master of the whole thing. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's quite the crew. I mean, and everyone there is still fully immersed in fitness. I think obviously we know Jason and Miranda are, and I think Pat and Katie and Dave all still somehow work for CrossFit, and so does Nicole. That's wild. I wonder. Oh, I know who Michelle Moots.
She's a great mover, like a small lady.
Yeah.
I
Michelle.
see her judging at the finals.
Yeah, Michelle Moots. Yeah, she was the one who ended up being at CrossFit HQ in the final days, running our program under there for she did
like hair up to here, like a carré.
Yeah, old and fat people she did. That was a huge class. Greg offered a class for anyone, who wanted to come to it, as long as you were fat or old. You had to be really out of shape. We had this class underneath HQ, and it was every morning, and it was nuts. There were like 60 people in it. She ran a great program. It was like one of those classes where the CrossFit workout would be, if you could just get out of your car and come to the gym, you might get a credit for doing a WOD. I mean, it was like really, really out of shape people.
Yeah, she was great. They were all great. That level 1, really, like after that, I never looked back, and I said, look at these people. Like, They're practicing what they're preaching. They're all super fit. This business is going so great. They're all into this. And I said, okay, this is it.
And how do you remember the first time you found out about the CrossFit Games?
Yeah, it was a little bit before that. I think my brother also told me that. He's like, listen, there's this Navy SEAL dude who's still on deployment. He's still in the military, and he came and kicked the shit out of almost everyone. And I was like, what? Let me see that. And then I saw that little guy
Oh yeah,
just crush everyone at the beach event.
Josh Bridges, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, man. That's hardcore.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Those were some good old days. And so you went to the level 1, you loved it. And you come back and how did you start your gym? When you started your gym, did you have 0 members?
Basically something like that. So all our friends, the guys that we trained together, the guys and girls that we trained at the parks, and we ended up being a year at the tennis court. And we found like this place where we can put our equipment. So that was a base of the members and coaches of the gym. And I had a partner at the time. He was the business guy. And thank God for him, because I had no idea anything about business. He was with me up till 2015. And from there, I bought his part. And ever since then, I'm alone.
So when you were still outside with no home and you just found a public spot, you had already affiliated?
We couldn't affiliate because we had no one with level 1.
Okay.
When I got back, we affiliated.
Okay. And then did you affiliate before you even had a location?
No, we were called Warehouse Fitness for the first few months that I was there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went for like 4 months to my trip. I was in the US and South America, and then we got back.
And have you always been at the same location? Is this location you're at the same one you've always been at?
No. We already moved 2 locations from there. We're now at a very special, I'd call it location, because we're at a country club. We have our own space at a country club, and most of it is outside. We have like 3 halls, and 2 of them are outside. And we have like a pool and a sauna and jacuzzi and tennis courts and everything in our disposal. So it's great.
Was the owner of the country club a member, and that's how that happened? How did that happen?
Again, my brother, he's texting me. He wants to come on.
You can send him a link if you want him to come on. He doesn't have to, though. It's up to you.
Yeah. I'll send him.
Okay.
So he was the lifeguard there at the country club, and they loved him. They have a statue of him, the lifeguard that became a doctor. And they loved him, and they wanted to do something with that space during COVID. And they approached us, and we loved it. You know, COVID had us really not wanting to be inside anymore. We've had enough of like the box mentality, so we wanted a little bit of outside. It was a perfect deal. I have an awesome community who stuck with us for the whole pandemic. And we moved, and now we love the new space.
What do you do when the weather gets bad?
The weather now is the worst that it can get. There's a storm called Coral outside now. It's snowing in Israel. Do you know what it takes for Israel to snow?
No, I didn't even know. Isn't Israel? I think of Israel as just the desert. I think of it as like Los Angeles.
Yeah, so it's snowing right now in Israel. But during the winter, we have like this closed thing that we do, like a tent that we put outside for the rain, and we get by. Yeah, but that's just for like 3 months of the year, and even that.
What does this say?
It says, it's one of my members. It's Amit Keidal. Shout out. He's our giant elephant.
Amit Keidal.
Amit Keidal. He says Totach. That means a cannon, which is slang for you're great.
Oh, I can't. Okay, maybe I'll start using that. Maybe I'll culturally appropriate that. You're a cannon.
Yeah.
What a cannon. Yeah, climate change. Right, Jeffrey. Climate's always changing. It's changed already since I've started the podcast.
Come on. It snowed here 2014 as well.
And a pretty smooth sailing once you got the gym open for you since 2013? No, lots of challenges.
lots of challenges, but the main thing is that we have the passion, we have the community, we have the awesome people. I think the main thing that we needed to develop was the business side of it, and that obviously forced us doing that exactly in the pandemic.
Oh, that was kind of the wake up call for you when you came out of
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
like, all right, I'm getting my shit in order.
yeah. Because pandemic, we had to shut down. We had crazy mandates. Um,
Nico, tell me about opening a gym in Israel. In our country, one of the big things that we're going through right now, and thank God for Donald Trump, is he's trying to get rid of regulations so small business can jumpstart again. We have all sorts of rules. Like if you want to have chickens, you can't have a pile of like chicken shit higher than 1 feet high. And then they come check you and they fine you. And there's just regulations around everything. But one of the things that hasn't been regulated, thank God, is gyms. So anyone can just open a gym, right? And and,
yeah.
and, and we let capitalism take care of, which gyms succeed and which ones don't. But some countries, like in Europe, you have to go to college first and get a degree and then take your level 1 and then open a gym. How is it in Israel? Is it easy to open a gym? Or are you
Uh,
guys steeped in regulation also?
the hard part is not the certification that you need to get, like a 4 months course of a trainer's certificate, just for
Mhm.
insurance purposes. And I
Okay.
think they're trying to get rid of that too.
Yeah.
But mostly it's pretty and it's pretty same like you said. Not a lot of regulation, a lot of taxes, but like
Yeah.
everywhere.
You guys do have a lot of taxes in Israel?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
every Western country, if you're successful, you're gonna pay taxes, no?
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that we start going the other way here. It's an exciting time here.
Yeah, I know. Listen, it's exciting for us too. It's there's finally, well, listen, Biden was great to us, okay? Like uh, Biden himself, not the Biden administration.
The
You know that we
retarded
call
old man,
Biden,
the retarded old man was nice to you.
yeah, the retarded old man. We call him the last Zionist president. Okay, that's what we call him because he genuinely himself. You can tell by his past and him and when he flew to Israel on October 8th or 9th and got off the plane and did that speech, the don't speech. Um, it had us all really appreciative of everything he's done, and we had no leadership at the time. Everyone was confused, and he was our leader. We looked up to him, and it was like,
You mean
listen,
the
this man
leadership? You mean
wants.
Bibi wasn't really didn't have a strong firm of the hold of the country? Is that what you mean by you didn't have a
Yeah,
leader?
Bibi is a very controversial figure in Israel. So even before October 7th, half of the country doesn't believe anything that comes out of his mouth, and so he can say whatever he wants, but no one believes anything he says anymore. Even his own people. He's the greatest politician to ever walk the earth. Okay, and that's what politicians do. They don't tell the truth. Um, but yeah, we had no leadership and no leader to look up to and maybe calm us down a little bit. And I think Biden did that, and for us, we'll forever remember that for him at least. But
Is
whatever happened after that with Blinken and John Kirby and the whole and Kamala and the whole administration was horrifying. They basically did an embargo, and it cost us soldiers' lives.
what by not allowing weapons to flow into Israel?
Yeah, certain weapons. Yeah,
Yeah, what's crazy is it's interesting to hear you say that because in our country, whether you were on the left or the right, whatever side you were on, you knew that Biden wasn't leading our country, which is so trippy to hear. But I understand how it worked over there, right? It's the leader of the free world. He comes over there, but over here he wasn't giving us any leadership, and so we've gone through like just 4 years of just chaos.
yeah, yeah. It's been shown, but it's a different leadership that we needed than you needed. You don't really have a crisis. You just have really too much of a comfortable life and too
Yeah,
much time on your hands that
yeah,
you're just divided on stupid things.
yeah,
We have like we had before October 7th. The
yeah.
country was super divided, and then you just need someone to try and kill all Americans, and then that will unify you, Sevan.
Well, what's interesting. You say that is you look at Europe and you look at the terror that they've also received, and it still hasn't woken those people up. People getting beheaded on the streets of London, terrorists just
Yeah.
entering the streets of Paris with machine guns and shooting people down. For some, this is the way I was characterizing it to my wife the other day. She's like, "What happened in Europe?" I said, "Well, you know how we had the Black Lives Movement, and anything could be perceived as racist.
Yeah.
Europe had the Islamic phobia movement, right? If you said anything about Muslims, anything other than they need help, you were considered Islamophobic. Is it similar to that? And so everyone kind of took the knee, and bad shit started happening.
I agree. I think that it's a pendulum effect from basically the Holocaust, especially in Germany. You see it because Germany would basically let any refugee from any country just get in, and we promise we won't be racist towards you, even if you rape and kill our girls. So that's
And
what happened.
there is a wild story in Germany within the last year where a woman was raped by 5 migrants in Germany, and she refused to testify against them because she had white privilege. I mean, it's mind-boggling how strong the psyop is. And we had something
Yeah, I
similar
always
happen. We
said
had
that
something
they're going to
similar
come.
happen in New York. We had it was caught on video. A woman and a man were sitting at a bus stop, and the man was murdered, and the woman wouldn't testify because she didn't want to describe the person who killed her boyfriend because she thought it would be racist if she described him. It's like, holy shit, we're in a weird
Yeah,
world.
they got all mixed up. We see it by their reactions to what happens here. They got it all mixed up, and I always said that they're going to come by and learn from us how to do checkpoints and roadblocks when they're going to have refugee camps and they need to stop terrorism from going into their major cities. So we're going to be very happy to teach them. We have a lot of knowledge on that, so we're waiting.
And just to pile on further, last month, the president of Sweden said that they've lost control of the country. Those were his exact words. We've
Yeah,
lost control.
Scandinavia. I think
From
they're
the
leading the
president.
pack on that.
Can you
On the
imagine
stupidity.
Can you imagine the president of your country saying that? Like Trump would never say that.
Listen, man, the world is a crazy place. We have enough shit to deal with. You know what we've been through this past weekend, Sevan?
Tell me.
Just this past weekend.
It snowed.
It snowed. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the least interesting thing. That
Santa
happened here.
visited the Jews. Santa came and visited the Jews.
I wish. No.
Oh, what happened this past week?
It's pretty sad. I don't want to bring you down, but
It's okay. I'm here for it. I'm very interested.
so this past weekend we basically that we're in a ceasefire period now, right? With Gaza.
Okay. Yep, I'd heard that.
And there's phases to this ceasefire, and this phase was so every phase we get prisoners back, hostages back, and we give something, I don't know, tents.
I saw. Well, I also saw that you guys gave 1,900 prisoners for like 6 prisoners.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Yeah, that's also part of the deal. So this weekend we were supposed to get the Bibas family back, which is the mother and 2 of her baby children. Bibas family is Shiri. Rest in peace, and her kids. Kfir, which was abducted when he was 9 months old, and Ariel, which was 4. And this is the weekend where we were, and their father was also abducted, and he was returned about 2 weeks ago, Yarden, and they molested him psychologically about them dying, and they filmed it obviously and sent it, and it was horrifying. So this weekend we were supposed to get their bodies and another old man, 80-year-old named Oded Lifshitz, on Wednesday, I don't remember exactly. And they did this I can't even describe it. A horrifying ceremony with baby coffins. It's everywhere. You can look it up. Baby coffins, like 4 coffins, and this absurd ceremony that the mob came and saw it, and people brought their children to see it, with the Red Cross exchange of them giving the coffins to the Red Cross. It was just, I don't know, it was so, can't even describe it. And,
Nico, go ahead.
and that was how it started. And then we didn't know what happened to them. There was an estimation that they were killed, maybe in Air Force bombing or something like that. But then we got their bodies, and they sent them to an autopsy, and they found out that they were not killed in an airstrike. They were brutally murdered by Hamas terrorists. And not only brutally murdered, and I'm sorry for getting a little bit graphic here.
It's important for people to hear this. It's important for people to hear this. Very, very important. I don't think people realize the crazy shit that's happening over there.
Yeah, so Ariel and Kfir Bibas, 2 beautiful ginger kids, were killed in a terrorist bare hands. They didn't even shoot them.
The report that we got here in the States is that the babies were returned. They were told that they were killed in firefight. Then the doctors did an autopsy on them, and they had been murdered with bare hands and then shot afterwards. And we were also told that one of the children isn't actually the child that they said it was.
No, that was Shiri. That's the mother.
Oh.
They returned the wrong body. So
you guys don't have the mother yet.
Back.
Oh.
No, we got her. We got her a day after, which is another horrifying thing that they did. And everything like that swings the whole country here emotionally. And that was how the weekend started, basically. That same night, they tried to do like a coordinated attack on Israel that same night. And they put 4 bombs in buses on Thursday night. They were supposed to explode on Friday morning. And the word is they didn't get the AM and the PM right. So it exploded on Thursday at 9 p.m. And that way no one was killed.
And they brought the buses across the border? And
No. It was terrorists from the West Bank. It was Hamas West Bank that did it. Same Hamas, though.
Even though there's a ceasefire?
Yeah, the ceasefire is in Gaza. The West Bank is, if you
okay, so the ceasefire only counts for the West Bank. I mean, for Gaza.
We're beating the shit out of them in the West Bank every day.
Still.
There's terrorists trying to get out and do horrible things every day, and we need to stop it. You know that a CrossFit trainer from CrossFit Florentine, Dave was there when he was in Israel. She was shot and killed a few months ago on the train station from a terrorist. She had her baby. Her name was Yarden. She had her baby in the, what's it called? Like a backpack on the front.
Yeah, baby carrier.
Yeah, baby carrier. She had her dog and her baby, and she was killed. And her baby survived. God bless, but she was killed. She was a trainer at CrossFit Florentine.
What city did that happen in?
Tel Aviv, Jaffa.
So they're in your country.
Yeah, listen, the border in the West Bank is not an actual border, okay? There's settlements of ours there, and we live amongst them. And the West Bank is a different story than Gaza. But yeah, it's horrifying. It's horrifying shit, and they're monsters. And we're going to do everything to eradicate them.
When for about a year on this podcast, about a year ago, I heard some story where if you are a resident of Gaza and you kill a Jew, you get money for the rest of your life, a monthly stipend for every Jew you kill, and that if you die, your family gets the stipend. And I remember hearing that, and I remember thinking, well, you can't have those as neighbors. No country would tolerate that. If Mexico, if the official word from Mexico is that if you kill an American, for and you get money for life, I have to guess that we would turn Mexico into a giant sheet of glass. I would have to guess we would tell them, hey, you got to step away from the border. We're going to drop a nuke on you. You just can't have that. And so when I heard that, I always thought, okay, well, what you're going to have to do then is completely clear out Gaza, just completely clear it out and give it to someone who has insane financial interest, right? Basically like someone like the UAE who'll chop your hands off if you fuck around. And
that's an idea, yeah. But no, listen. Okay, so let me
just finish this one thought. So when Trump said we're going to clear out Gaza, I have, and you know that for a public figure to say that, I mean, on my little rinky-dink podcast, it's fine. You know what I mean? But for a public figure to say that,
it was taboo for years to say that.
And now when he said that, that's wild. And I always,
even in the extreme right wing of Israel, it was a taboo. It's called a transfer. And it was a taboo to say that. Like you would have been considered a fascist if you said that.
Right.
But you know that he doesn't really mean it. He just wants to throw a grenade and have people give ideas. You know, that's his tactics.
You don't think Trump? Okay. You don't think Trump means it?
He doesn't mean it.
Oh, okay. No,
it's not feasible. There's no real possibility that could happen. It's been tried before. You know, it's not the first time that we've tried to incentivize people
to leave,
stepping out of Gaza and going somewhere else. Listen, okay, so I am
Why isn't it feasible? Why can't they just open up the border with Egypt and let them run in? Why not just bomb the border with Egypt?
They won't go. You think that if you no, they won't go. Some of them will, but you know who will stay? The most extreme. So what do you do in that? We have a peace agreement with Egypt, and it's very important to us. So we're not going to do anything of that sort without coordinating it with Egypt. And Egypt didn't want them at the peace agreement that we did with them after the '67 war, because they are a danger to them too. You know, the Arab Spring that happened in 2011 happened with the Muslim Brothers, which is basically Hamas. That's Hamas's arching organization. So they don't want Hamas doing that again in their country. I understand them. But still, listen, it's there's no one solution. And I don't think the world is black and white. You said that they have the pay to slay policy for the Arabs. But I don't know. Listen, they have a narrative, okay? So do you want to talk about the Arab narrative to see how they look at it?
Sure.
Because they also have a narrative.
Sure.
That we have our narrative. We're Jews.
Right.
This is our holy land. We came here. You started a war. You lost. You know, fuck around. Find out.
Yeah.
But their narrative is Western colonialism. You know, like we talked, the English and the French that had the mandate here. They gave this land to the Jews. The Jews chased us away from our homes in Jaffa and in Haifa and in cities that are today Israeli major cities in 48. And we are not going to calm down until we get our land back. And them paying to slay is their way to incentivize people to fight for their land. Okay, that is their freedom fighting. Okay, obviously, freedom fighters don't kill babies. I think that's a very important thing to say, and we can't have that. We won't have that. They are on our border, and we will do anything to eradicate every monster that is associated with Hamas. And unfortunately, that's a lot of Palestinians.
We saw a survey come that 86% of the Palestinians inside of Gaza wanted the elimination and death of all the Jews. Is it really like that? Is it that high? Is that the? That's
what they say. I don't know too many Gazans. I didn't have too much interaction with Gazan civilians, and haven't spoken to them. But I did have a lot with the West Bank Palestinians before the war. You know, when I used to renovate my gym, I used to take two workers, brothers from the West Bank, drive them to my gym, work with them, eat with them, be with them all day, and drive them back to the roadblock. And we used to talk about life and everything. We worked together. So they're not all monsters. They're
Right.
human beings there, and at least in the West Bank. I don't know about Gaza. My period of serving in the military, Gaza was like overseas. Okay, it wasn't inside of Israel, so we didn't have. They're all enemy to us, basically. But
Let
I'm
me,
sure there are good people there.
of
But
course.
they're governed by Hamas, and they're indoctrinated by Hamas. It will take at least a generation of anti-Nazification to get rid of that, and hopefully that generation will start sooner than later.
One of the things, if you drill down and you start looking around, from what I found on the internet, is that in 1967, they started using Palestinian as a ethnicity as opposed to a nationality, and that was a psyop that the KGB put into play. Uh, and they installed Yasser Arafat. Is that true? Have you heard that? But when I go back and do look at writings, they did used to refer to Palestinians as a nationality, and then at some point they switched to an ethnicity.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the difference. I'm not a historian. I'm not. What does it matter? What does it matter? They have a right. Okay, let's put it that they have a right for self determination.
Right.
Okay, they have a right. I'm not arguing that. They want self determination, even though they were part of Jordan, and some people call Palestine Narnia. Okay, but okay, so they have a right to self determination. So everyone says the most logical solution is give them a state. Have the two-state solution, right? They want self determination. Give them. Okay, we tried that. You know how many times we tried that?
Right.
You would give a state to a state that 82% of its population would kill you and all your family just because you're Jewish?
Yeah, that's wild. You can't have that as neighbors.
Yeah, a lot needs to happen for that to take place. That's what
Do you ever consider, so you historically, you and I come from families that have fled,
Yeah.
and the fact that my family fled has led to a very, 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 very good life for me.
Yeah.
That they fled that area, and that now I'm in California. It seemed. Would you ever consider leaving Israel? Like, so that just like, hey, I don't want to deal with this anymore. I'm gonna take my family and move to Montana.
Listen, pre October 7th,
Mm-hmm.
my life and all of our lives changed on October 7th. I became a dad a few weeks before, so my life drastically changed during that period. But before October 7th, we call it relocation here. You know, it's for a few years. You go, all the tech industry here, everyone does it. You go. A lot of people are in Southern California, by the way. You go for a few years, maybe 5, maybe 10, I don't know, and then you come back, or no, or you find a better life and you stay there. That's cool. I think that after October 7th, at least for me, I don't see that happening in the near future, at least. And except that we have like I have my family. Once you have kids, family is a lot more important. The grandparents and everything. So we want to stay by them. But
Right.
I don't know. Listen, my wife was born in the States. Even before the war, I have a Portuguese passport. People in Israel have foreign passports. I have a Portuguese passport because my family's from Morocco. I'm full Moroccan. My dad was born in Morocco, and my mom's family's from Morocco. And you can get a Portuguese passport. So I did. I got it. But I don't see myself. We're too invested here right now.
Yeah, I've heard Portugal. Have you been back there?
No, I have to go. I have to go.
I heard it's an amazing country. I heard it's a great place.
Yeah, yeah. First of all, there's Nazaré there. You know, there's great surf, and Nazaré is the craziest place. It's the mecca of surfing because it's the biggest wave in the world, and to see that, it's crazy. But yeah, there's a lot of Israelis that go there.
Yeah,
It's a big
is the has any healing started in Israel? You think?
no,
No,
no.
no healing.
The only
Still,
healing that will happen is when all the hostages get back, and we will have we don't even need a ceasefire because we know that we're going to be fighting for the next 100 years anyway. So we just need the hostages back so we can start some sort of healing and also accountability of the leaders. You know, they all need to go home and give us a fresh start. You know, to see where our country needs to go and how we unify instead of divide.
yeah,
Because that's we need that for challenges ahead.
yeah. Healing's trippy, right? I, I do you think that the only way is at some point to forgive, like before you leave the earth, before you die?
I don't. I'm not mad at the Palestinians. I have no anger towards them. None. I get their narrative. You know, I sometimes think, what would have done if I was born as a Palestinian? Would I have
Mm.
joined the resistance? I don't know. Like that's what I chose to do in my life here, even though being a soldier here means defend
Mm-hmm.
and not to be a terrorist. But the early days of the resistance in Israel, you know, organizations like the Lehi and Etzel, which was the base of today's IDF, they were terrorizing the British. They were bombing police stations of that was the Israeli resistance before Israel was formed.
Because Israel had the Brits had occupation in Israel
Yeah, it
when they
was the
handed it
British.
over.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I have no anger towards them. Really, it's not about them. It's about the cards that we were dealt. These are the cards, and now how do we deal with it, and how we live our best life and most secure life. And you know, it's very basic. You want to protect your family um, from any harms. So I don't care about the Palestinians. I think they should have a good life too. I want them to have a good life. How would that come to fruition? I don't know.
Very well said, Nico. When you would deploy, how long would the stints be? And would you literally, when we send our soldiers to fight, they fly away.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't think deployment is the right term for our service
hmm
because there are mornings, there were mornings when you can be at war in the morning and coach the afternoon class.
like literally war, like dead people in the morning, and helping people, loving on people, and helping them get healthy in the afternoon.
100%. It's a 2 hour drive from the gym. It's
Holy
90 minutes drive from the gym, 2 hours from
shit!
my house. So I don't think deployment is. We call it תעסוקה מבצעית, um, operational work. You know, we call it kav, like lines. You get the line of the fence that you need to protect,
Yeah,
basically. So yeah, but you come back home once every 2 or 3 weeks for like 2 days.
but the whole time you're there, you know that your bed is only 2 hours away.
Yeah, you can drive home. You can go home. You can go home, go to the dentist, and come back. That's what you do. I did that as a company commander. I needed to do a little bit of finals from high school because I was stupid and I didn't do my finals. So I went back to do like a test in literature and got back to the army same day. Yeah.
Wow. And how many days since October 7th have you worn the uniform? Do you know?
Around 250.
Oh my
The better
goodness.
part of the past 16 months. Yeah. Most of the past 16 months.
And could you go today? Are you done?
I'm currently done. I finished my last rotation. It was 3 rotations. I'm done with my last rotation about 3 to 4 weeks ago. Next one I have is in it's supposed to be in June. If nothing happens, June is next.
And is that all the men in the country?
No, I wish.
It's not
It's
all the men.
yeah, it's a small amount. I'd say of the men, I'd say about maybe 3-4%, even less. And most of them are not combat fighters. Most of them are other stuff.
What are the other
Also,
90%?
by the way, we have crazy women.
Oh, in there also IDF soldiers who are women.
Yeah, yeah.
What are the other 97% of the men doing? Just maintaining the infrastructure of the country?
Yeah, first of all, working and keeping the economy alive, which is very important. But we were in something called there's a buzz term in Israel called conception before October 7th that we needed a small and smart military. So basically, if you didn't have a very important job or really wanted to do reserve duty, you just got signed off. And that was for a lot of years, like a decade of just handing out releases from the military. And it's very hard to put someone back.
And so you get called up and you start these rotations. And how long are they usually?
Well, the first one was obviously very long. Everyone, that was like the major intense part of the war. It was something like 3.5 months from October to around end of January. And then there was another one of 2.5 months around February to April. And there was another one of 3 months from the end of October until end of January again.
And can you describe to me what the first rotation was like? Like, what did you do? Did you guys immediately start just pushing into Gaza?
Yeah, I can get into a lot of specifics of what I did for legal reasons, but I can tell you that the war started um, the minute that we understood the escalation of the severity of the matter. The war started then, but then there were phases. There was the pushback war. You needed to conquer back all um, the places that were conquered by Hamas. That took a few days. And then there was a major airstrike campaign that happened for a couple of weeks. And then the ground maneuver started. And the ground maneuver basically went on in various intensities until the ceasefire.
And do they try to defend themselves, or does everyone flee when you guys come in? Does everyone run, or do they actually try to defend themselves?
So it's a lot of guerrilla warfare. At the beginning, they had more means to defend themselves, like RPGs and drones and stuff like that. But they don't have that now. So now it's a lot of guerrilla warfare, and their method is to hide among civilians. It's a good method for them because we are soft-hearted and we don't want to kill so-called innocent civilians. So we try to minimize casualties, and
Yeah,
that is a very good tactic.
and you guys are under a very, very strict code, right? I was reading about it. It's basic. I mean, you guys are under some wild strict code about making
What do you
sure
mean?
you don't hurt civilians. Meaning the code to not hurt civilians is a major handicap for you guys, and that it's taken very, very, very seriously. That you guys are very honorable fighters.
Of course. So it's not just for them; it's also for us. You don't want to just go around killing everyone you see. You don't want to
Right.
kill old people, kids, women. It's you don't want to corrupt your own soul, your children's soul. These soldiers are children.
Right.
So yeah, but they take advantage of that. They take advantage of that very heavily, and that is their tactics, and also strategy. Because every time we do hit, because there are civilian casualties, and every time something like that happens, it's a major, um, I'd say, PR blow for us.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they show in the States, you know, not on all the media, but in the media I watch, they show prisoners being held in hospitals and tunnels under hospitals and weapons being stored in hospitals, and it's
Exactly.
pretty wild. Has Israel pulled out of Gaza, or are they still there?
Israel has pulled out of most of Gaza. There are still a few strategic places that we need to hold during the ceasefire, but it doesn't matter. The war is not over. We're going to go back in there at some point, whether it be a few weeks or a few months or a year. It doesn't matter. This war is not over, and we are going to continue and protect ourselves, basically.
And why do you see so, Nico, is the thought that it has to be brought to them, it can't be brought to you guys anymore? Is that why you say you're going back in there, or are there actual specific targets? There's people still that you guys know who are there that need to be taken out?
Well, I think it goes back to what you said. We can't live with a monster on our fence.
Right.
And it starts and ends with that. So we're going to do everything in our power. God bless that we don't have a U.S. administration that will hold us back anymore. We had, before the ceasefire, we conducted a warfare under the Biden administration. The next warfare, intense part of this war, will be under the Trump administration, which is going to be very different. Oh, that's my brother. I sent him a link. Yeah.
Yo. Look how happy you are to see him.
Yeah, of course.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
he doesn't have an
happy.
accent. He doesn't have an accent either. Not very strong.
Yeah, we basically grew up with the same kids. We're native speakers. Yeah. I am actually very excited. I was kind of texting Tomel for like half an hour. I wanted to get on.
Hey,
Yeah,
say your name.
I have another patient in 15 minutes, so I'll just leave him on.
Perfect. Perfect. Say your name for me, Yanir.
Yeah, Yanir, exactly.
Yanir. Yeah, you don't roll the R, Yanir. Yanir. Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
Hey, Yanir, why don't you ever let him win? He's your little brother. Why don't you ever let him win? He says you've always, no matter what he does, you always stay one step ahead of him. When are you going to let him win?
Everyone knows that.
So, you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Do you hear me? Is the question.
Yeah. So he's just being modest. He beats me in a lot of things. I think we inspire each other.
And did you also deploy?
Yeah. So I was actually I didn't hear all the podcasts because I was just dropping off my kid at the jiu-jitsu class. So I was actually back at the 6th of October because I had to get him to his mom. And so I was essentially on the first day. Yeah, I was enlisted.
And do you guys God, I would hate to be your parents. I would be terrified if both my sons were fighting. And did you guys ever deploy together? Were you guys ever at the same place?
Oh, we were in the same unit. We were in the same unit in our original service. I obviously followed him. But we never actually got to be together, to deploy together, as you would say.
Savannah, I don't know how long.
He's a doctor. He's like a combat doctor. He actually treated a lot of casualties from Hezbollah rockets up north, at Mountain Dove, in the first few days of the attack when they joined the attack. And he has crazy stories from that. He's an eye doctor, but they say he's also a very good trauma doctor.
They say.
So
go ahead, Yanir. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say, first of all, I don't know how long you'll let me stay. I just want to say, first of all, thank you for letting us speak. You know, I mean, obviously, Tomel He's one of the best speakers you'll ever meet. He did a great job here presenting our agenda. And this is very important for us because we do feel that not a lot of people around the world knows our story. And we've been following your podcast. I'm very excited to be here. I'll tell you that. For a lot of time, since Matt, Savan, and Josh, and you've always been a voice that doesn't afraid to speak up, and you've mentioned us several times. So I do want to thank you for that. And like Tomel has mentioned, we had a very rough weekend, and this is in honor of those who will never come back. And we want to spread their message and being here. I mean, we'll speak to you about CrossFit. We can geek out about it for this is what we do essentially. But the most important thing for us right now is to use this chance to just show the side of Israel, which is it's our side obviously.
Hey, and I appreciate it. And Nico is very sober in his presentation of it and very honest. And I appreciate that also. Unfortunately, the news here, a lot of it, they think it's too graphic to share the stories, and you have to dig really deep to find out what's happening. And you have to be patient. And when you hear some of the things that are truly happening, because the media will just be like they attacked a town and some women and children were taken as hostages, right? And once you dig down and you start seeing what really happened, you see the complete intolerance of it. It's important to say people need to hear the horrible truth. Recently, Greg and I were reading an article about a man and woman who are a husband and wife who the terrorists came into their home at the attack, tied them together, chopped off the woman's breast, chopped off his penis, gouged out his eye, and then kept them alive and put their baby in the oven and burned it. And as hard as that is to say, like, it's one thing to kill people. It's another thing, like, who could actually sit there and watch that? Even like you couldn't do that to your worst enemy because you wouldn't even want to see that, And I don't think the American, and then, so I have deep confusion and compassion for you guys as you guys go through these struggles. Then you see on the streets of America, college students protesting against Israel. And it's wild. I've said this on my show a million times. There's 12 to 20 million Jews and there's 1.5 billion Muslims. The Jews have one tiny little country. They have 54 countries. And if you were to ask any Westerner in the United States, where would you like to live? You can choose any Muslim country or Israel. No matter what their political bend is, they're picking Israel. No one's fucking going to Tehran, And
I would beg to defer, Sevan, because you said a few things that I don't necessarily agree with. Because
please,
I think
please unfuck me. Go ahead.
We are in an era where there is no such thing as truth.
Okay.
There are only narratives.
Okay, fair.
And I don't. You would never know what the truth is until you will be here.
Right, until you witness it. Fair.
See and feel us. And listen, there are bad Israelis and bad Jews. There are bad soldiers that did horrific things, probably.
Sure.
But there are also values to every society. And I think that the values that we try to represent, let's say if I would, and these kind of things happen, if I would catch one of my soldiers doing something unethical, I don't know, molesting a cuffed prisoner or beating a kid or something like that, he would go to jail. And he did, and I did that. And we do that. That's the IDF commanders. We have our own moral standards. We don't need the world preaching us on how to behave. Okay? But the news, MSNBC, CNN, BBC, those are very, I would say, biased towards certain political agendas. And that's why I think there is no such thing as the truth. You tried to say, oh, we don't get the news here. We get a certain kind of news. No, there is no truth. Okay. And it doesn't matter. Truth doesn't exist.
Okay. Well,
in this era, in the information era.
Okay. Well, how about this? We don't get a full picture. like they will say stuff to us like Nico. And by the way, I hope it doesn't come across like I'm preaching to you at all, because I'm not. I'm just trying.
Go ahead.
Okay. Um, uh, they will say horrible things happened, and these are the horrible things that are happening aren't even fathomable by this population unless you spell it out for them. And they'll even this country is so soft that even if you were to tell that story, they would wince. Do you know what I mean? They would cover their ears and run away.
Sevan, you want to hear a funny thought that I have sometimes about ever since October? You know that if I wouldn't have picked up my phone, if I were to live in some sort of desert,
Yeah.
and I had picked up my phone, my world would be the same as it was in October 7th on 6:28 in the morning, still to
Right.
this moment.
Right.
Sometimes I think, why do you need this war to be fed on your phone and your images all day long? Why do you need that for? Why? What good is there?
You mean what value does it have to people around the world who aren't living it to know about it?
Yeah. I'm saying an extreme. I am a Jewish Israeli soldier and officer. And if I wouldn't open up my phone and stayed at my house in Kfar Vitkin, which was almost no alarms there, no rockets fell there, I wouldn't know that there is a war. So why do you...
I actually make this choice every day. That's exactly how I live my life right now when I'm off the army.
But think about it in general. You don't... Of course, we need to avoid and diet and do an information diet. We can't do that right now because we live it. But why do you need to see it all day long? Like, live your life. Let us protect ourselves. Give us the weapons that we need because we buy it, and we're on your side. We're basically your what's it called on UFC? The gatekeeper.
We're the 53rd nation of the United States.
Yeah, maybe we'll make you the 52nd state after Canada.
Exactly. Let us fight and just support us. We have the same values. We're fighting the same enemy. So
do you know a lot of people in this country think it's the other way around, that the United States is Israel's state?
Yeah, of course. We know that. And sometimes it seems like that. But
you know what? Truly, I don't care.
Yeah, I think, listen.
Like when people are like, the Jews run the world, I'm like, fine. Well, then they better start running it better. I don't care who's running it. Just tighten that shit up a little bit.
Something you were talking about. You were talking about these people who protest at New York and London and wherever. And I don't blame them. I think that this is our job to we need to make the best that we can. Like Thomas said, we have a very very high moral, and our standards are very high. And even I wanted to refer to something Thomas said before. When we were, before Israel came about, we were bombing the police stations and the British soldiers. We would never behead a baby or burn a baby. We would never do. I mean, I think we are different in that sense. We use slightly different means in order to get what we want. But like Thomas said, we were just born here. This is our nation. We pick our side. There's no one truth to it. If I would be the little kid that I took out of his house in Nablus in order to take his dad, to arrest his dad, I would probably grow up to be a terrorist as well. But I'm on my side, and we try to focus on just doing what we need to do as best as we can. And sometimes it means being here in your podcast, just showing our side, showing our narrative. I don't want to use the word truth. I very much agree with Tomeo. Truth it's very vague. There's no one truth. And we just need to do the best that we can. I don't want to say to educate, but to show our reality. And I think people who want to make the choice of looking at us as the bad guys, they're gonna make it anyway, whether you're gonna show them burn babies or not. That's theirs. But I always say that we're not gonna win this war at the press. We should just get better. We should slightly do every day what we can. I think Tomer, he's doing a great job of showing our side, and we're thankful for opportunities like you give us. And there are some also, good journalists out there who do try to do it. I think we only look at ourselves. We only, we take responsibility for whatever is happening here. And like Tomer said, it's for us to unite and to do the best we can. I would never, like Thomas said, I don't have anything against the Gazans or the civilians, even the terrorists. I mean, they just do what they think. I just think we should do what we need to do the best we can. We don't go and say Hamas this and this and this. I mean, that's not my narrative. My narrative is we should protect our nation in the best way that we can. We should show our side at the best way that we can. And yeah, I mean, that's what we do here.
Are you saying, Nico, like, hey, butt out? Are you saying like, hey, butt out, mind your own?
No, we don't want you to butt out.
Oh, okay.
No, butt in.
Listen, we have.
I'm trying to understand your perspective.
We talked about values. Okay, our society and your society, the Judeo-Christian, whatever you want to call it, we have similar values. I think this is not a war on land. This is not a war on peace agreements or hostages. This is a war of values, of religion, of West and East, and it's something that's part of a larger thing. But I get the perspective of some American that would just of being okay. Listen, you fight your war. Don't come for us. Don't come to us for weapons. Okay, we won't. We'll manufacture it ourselves. We'll do it. Okay, give us a few years. We'll run it back. But I think that if you have interests in the Middle East, and obviously you do, so we obviously need the U.S. support. I'm not saying fund us and pamper us, and I understand why the average American won't want his tax dollars to fight the Gaza war. I understand that. I really, really do. But in all honesty, let us do our job. And understand that what we saw this past weekend is just a fraction of the evilness, the pure evilness that is on the other side of the fence. We knew that. We didn't need October the 7th.
Yeah, we definitely knew that.
We knew that. We had Fogan family was murdered when I was deployed in Nablus in 2011. Two terrorists went into a house and murdered a 3-month-old baby and a 4-year-old baby and the parents and everyone. And when they got to the court, they said, if we knew that there's another baby, a 2-year-old baby inside, which we didn't see, we would have murdered him too. We didn't need October 7th to know what kind of evil is in store within Hamas. But I think the world now saw a little bit, a tiny fraction of that. And we see that every day with every hostage that comes back. So we're just saying, let us fight this monsters alone. We don't need a lot from you. We just need you to let us fight. That's it.
I will say, I think this is in the world. I will say, I think it's in the world's interest for us to, I don't want to say win, because I don't think there's winner in wars, but, to get the favorable result.
Let me push back a little bit here, Nico. And this kind of ties. You're right. We do have similar values, right?
Yeah.
We have the values to. And the problem is that if we don't think that what's happened in Israel will be brought to every major city in the world, when these people come in, they need to be indoctrinated into our culture. So for the problem with the United States is we opened up our borders and we weren't able to indoctrinate people fast enough to our cultural values. So these people were coming in and they're bringing their values here to this country, and this country can't have that. You can bring your culture here, but you have to have our values. I think you nailed it. And so in that regard, I think it's really important that people see what's going on in Israel, because
what? It's not the same. It's not the same, because we don't want them to come into Israel and assimilate to us. We don't want that.
You don't want that.
No. They can have their own society and values, and they treat, let's say, women or gay people different than what we treat them. And it's okay. It's yours. That's your culture. That's also the same in Saudi Arabia and in the UAE and everywhere.
Right.
It's okay. But once that infiltrates into our national security, that's when we have to start taking action. And it hasn't been shown up to this point that we can live beside them and to each his own state. That hasn't been shown, not even something close to that. So it's not the same as the refugees that are coming to the US and share our values, act like us, and everything will be okay. No, we want our state. There's a lot of Arabs. I'm Arab. You know that me and Yanir, we're Arabs, right? You know that.
From Morocco.
Yeah, we're Arabs. We're Jewish Arabs. Okay. My grandma talked to us Arabic. Okay. And our
oh, that's why you said yallah in the I was tripping on that in the WhatsApp. Yallah. I used to hear because come on. I know I used to hear my is that what that was? Yallah, come on.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but no,
okay.
that's Ashkenazi Jews use that too.
Oh, okay.
We're Arabs, and that's okay. We live with Arabs. I love the Arabic culture. I think it's amazing, and I think we can be great neighbors. But terrorism is not something that any of us can accept. Not for them too, you know. Not for them. That if the Palestinians want good, the best life, they need to stop looking back at 48 and 67. They need to look forward. Okay, and I don't see that happening right now with their current leadership. So I don't know. I guess we'll just keep fighting for the near future, and we accept that. That's okay.
What did Arabic culture is amazing. What do you like about it? You know, being that I'm Armenian and my family.
Arabic culture. Have you tasted Arabic food?
Oh, it's the best. I mean, I was raised.
Have you ever been to an Arabic hospitality?
I mean, the food in Syria was the best food I ever had. Yeah.
There's amazing things at the Arabic culture. That's my culture. That's Moroccan culture.
And very familial. Like, you know, the Armenians in Lebanon, we have a very, you know, obviously we're mixed there with a lot of the Arabs. And the culture and the food is amazing. The food that the Armenians eat outside of Armenia is so good, as opposed to the food they eat in Armenia. It's Russian food and it's horrible. It's a good life. It's a lot of very loving, familial people. It's a very close knit. It's a great place to raise a kid.
Yeah. So I'm going to leave you with Yanir.
Okay, good. Okay? Good. Yes.
I just have to get the next patient in, and if you want, we'll continue. We'll talk.
Yeah, Nico, I'd like to have you on again. I think that you have some complex ideas that, but that they're very clean, and I would love to keep talking to you. I'd love to.
Yeah, let's talk about the Open. What do you think will happen at the Open? We have a big event at my gym.
I think the Israelis will still never send anyone to the games.
Oh, come on, we had one in 2019.
We get better slower than the world does. So. I mean,
listen. 2019 was the DEI games. We just threw you a bone.
No,
and even then we send the wrong guy.
We send our fit people to the military. Come on.
It's gonna be like college sports. We're gonna send someone to the US to just live there, grow up there. He's gonna represent us.
But thank you so much for the opportunity, and we'll talk. Okay. Thanks
yes, thank you, buddy. Hey, keep your head up, and thank you for the clarity and your thoughts. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I also have like 15 minutes. My son is the jiu-jitsu class. I want to pick him up, and I have a double espresso. That's my pre-workout. I take just 2. It's like 4 shots of espresso. It's 4 espressos actually.
Hey, Yanir, you look huge. Are you a giant man?
No, man. No, I'm not huge. I'm 176 centimeters. I mean, I work out. I mean,
your head looks twice as big as your brother's. He got a round head, and you got one of those cinder block heads, like superhero heads.
I have a very my jaw is the test killed it. I always say that, like, my son is a very pretty kid. I think I've been told that I used to be one as well, but since growing up and you get the hormones and the testosterone kind of gave me this ugly jaw.
Oh, it's beautiful. You look like a superhero. You look like a character.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
So you were already in service the day of the attacks. You were already working.
So what happened is, so I'm divorced, and my kid was with me. We were abroad, with Tomil, we went the whole family to Greece. We go there every year. So I had to come back in order for me to transfer him to his mom for the holiday. Like Tomil mentioned, it's a very it's a very big holiday here. And so I got back at which was a Friday, and I slept over. Even I didn't even get the chance to get my dog back from my friend who owns a CrossFit City of David in Jerusalem. Shout out to them. And in the morning, I was like, yeah, you hear all the sirens, and I live quite close to where everything happened. And, I just got a phone and, get your shit up, get ready. It's go time. Yeah. And I straight away, we enlisted. We had some things going on. A few days after the northern border was also attacked, I was there. We had some, you know, injured people and casualties. And yeah, since then I was on and off the army as well.
Do they give you a gun, or do you bring your own gun? Like, do you have a gun that do all the males who are in the military have their own gun? They keep it at their house, and when they call you, you just pull it out
So
and show up?
I always walk around with a gun. I always walk around with a gun since I live here, so I know my reality. But we get a rifle. We get you know, we don't carry it on us. As soon as we enlist, we get a rifle, and all the equipment. Obviously, for me also, I actually just became a doctor the first time at this service, because prior to that I was, like Tomo said, in the unit, which is a battling unit, but I was there just as a regular soldier with my team, the ones that I was with them 20 years ago when we first started. So
And then every time you come home, do you turn your gun back in?
my gun?
No, the rifle they
No,
give you. So
the
let's
rifle.
say,
Yeah.
yeah,
No. So if I'm enlisted, it's always with me.
always with you.
You can like Thomas said, you enlist, then you carry it around to wherever you sleep with it, obviously, next to you. And sometimes you're gonna go, just visit the family. You're gonna go to a dentist, whatever, and it's with you. And as soon as you finish your round, it could be 2, 3 to even more months. Then you're gonna give it back. Next time you'll get it again. Yeah.
Is it a different gun every time, or is it the same gun?
So most of the times it was the regular M4, the American rifle, which I love the most. These last years we've been using this Israeli gun, which is essentially they're gonna take it off. It's not as good. Yeah. Also, in my experience, it's not as good, and it shoots well under like clean, um, circumstances. Like if you have no sand, no rain. But once shit gets a bit more dirty, then the M4 it does a much better job.
And when you do your rounds, do you do both? You do combat and you do medical care?
Medical care is only in combat, so I'm essentially I'm a doctor who walks around with my unit. I'm there.
So
What I
you're a
used to be
fighter, but if shit hits the fan, if someone gets
yeah,
injured, then you put your gun down and start working on the guy.
that's right. We even prior to that, we would usually place ourselves in the unit in a spot where, I mean, you're not gonna be the first one who gets like inside the house. That's what I did before, but now I'm gonna take a few steps back, and we're gonna be like at this 3 to 4 like a medical team, and we know that we're gonna have to operate fast enough, especially in this war. You know that you're gonna work pretty soon, but you're there with them. Like Tono
And
said, for me, I would never be in a position where I'm gonna be back somewhere at a base. That's not our mentality is we grew up as fighters, so yeah, that's our instinct.
Yanir, when you come across injured locals, do you treat them also?
For sure. Even so many times. I mean, like Tomo said, our morals are very different. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that crazy thing. We'd even, I mean, maybe it's obvious for some people. We would also treat the guys that we shot at. First of all,
So you
because
would be in a battle. The battle would be over. You would go do an assessment. You would see a down soldier. He's not dead, and then you would start trying to save him, even though he was the enemy.
yeah, I wouldn't call him a soldier, but yeah, yeah. I mean, it has also a value for us in terms of we want information from him, but um, that's just all we do. And also for me as a doctor, a combat doctor, I have two jobs. One is to um, I don't want to say kill, but prevent them from killing me. Once we get this done, my job is to help them medically as much as I can. Once they're out of, they can't do what they want to do.
Yeah, that's wild. Your brother Nico brought up a good point that like the reason why you have to do that also is because you're people and you can't come home with a corrupted soul. You don't want to go there and
Yeah,
come home knowing that you killed women and children and shit like that. And so
that
I
is
guess
so
that
true. That's so true. I mean, I don't know if you got to speak about it, but we have a lot of sadly we have a lot of experiences in war. So 2006 was the first time I was in Lebanon, and you see these people who sometimes they were in a they were set up for failure in the sense that they were alone in front of citizens. They were afraid and they made some bad calls and they shot the wrong people and they carried this with themselves for the rest of their lives, and it does corrupt their souls. And yeah, sadly, I've seen this process more than once. 2006, 2008, 2008, 2014, and we also had a big war in Gaza. And now we know that it's going to happen if we're going to let this happen. So, this is that's doing the right thing, but it's also to protect ourselves. I totally agree with everything he said.
Yanir, let me ask you something really personal. So you said you were divorced and you have a kid. When the war happens, does that change your relationship with your ex-wife all of a sudden? Does that like bring you closer to her when the war hits?
She was awesome. She was very supportive. I mean, she's also a doctor, and the reality was that she had to take care of him all this time when I was away, which was a lot of months. He was in the first grade. Obviously a very shaking experience for him to just start his first grade and his dad is going to war. I think we were quite okay before that, but it did brought us closer. That would be a very safe assumption. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
because
she
you
would
would
say the same.
yeah, you would think, you could be upset at your someone, and then something bad happens to them, and you realize how trivial your whatever frustrations you have, how trivial they are when it comes to what the whole country was going through, as opposed to like the massacres that happened on October 7th.
Yeah, I'll tell you that this is like a microcosmos for everything that's been going on. We've obviously had our differences, but we know that when some things happen, you leave everything aside and you just focus on what is important. In this case, this is our kid. I'll tell you that. I mean, she cares about him not less than me, if not more. And we knew that we just need to do the right thing, whatever it takes. I have my job now with the army. She's gonna be a mommy, and she does a very good job of it. So, yeah.
Um, you said your son's in jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I'm gonna start driving towards him, so I might get off for like 2 seconds. Yeah, he's
Okay.
I've been following your three playing brothers. I love it, and I try to keep him active. You hear me?
Yeah, and you're back. Yes. Go ahead, drive. If I lose you, I lose you. It's okay. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
yeah,
drive.
yeah. So I was saying that so my son is with me twice a week on the regular days, and these days, so he's gonna come home. We're gonna do some pull-ups, some handstands on the wall, like shoulder touches, these kind of things. And then we're gonna go to jujitsu, which is essentially in the CrossFit box. Then I'm gonna do there my like little CrossFit session. Then we have like a 30 minutes rest, and then he has a swimming lesson, and I'm gonna swim my workout next to
Oh,
his. So
that's
he's
awesome.
we're very yeah. I knew you would love it.
Yeah, what a great combo. I love taking my kids to swim lessons. It's sort of I like them just in the water, obviously, because I want them to be able to have a lifelong of surfing and be comfortable. But it's also just a great break from all the other. It's just one of those sports that they're doing not competitively, but they're just just get in the water and swim and just be really proficient and work on their
It's not
breathing.
it's not competitive there.
Well, no, for a lot
It's
of
very
kids it is, but
competitive here.
For a lot of kids it is, but for my kids, I try to make their swim classes the least competitive thing they do. Like I basically just tell them swimming is just accessory work. You do so many other things. You do tennis, jiu-jitsu, you're crossfitting, you're skateboarding, but when you get in the pool, you just want to become, the best swimmer you can be, but I'm never going to put them probably in swim competitions. For me, that's how I sort of bring swimming to them. Just 30 minutes in the pool every day. With lessons on strokes and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, my kid, his name is Michael. He's a very sensitive kid. He's a. It's awesome that he's like a bit scared of everything. So it's very good. It's very safe. Like he knows how to take care of himself. He's never gonna do like crazy shit. Gonna jump from high places or things like that. But it comes with this natural sense of just being slightly afraid of water. So I really saw that as a kid, and I said that the best way to overcome it would be just exposure, and I would expose him to water quite frequently. Yep. I actually taught him how to swim, front crawl, and I just wanted him to be like now in a class, like with kids, have it more of a chill thing. Like with me, it was obviously very emotionally intense for me to see my kid not drowning, but struggling with water, which is something he was very afraid of. And then seeing this process, he's like 4 years into swimming now. He swims so good.
Oh, wow.
But I wanted him to just have this confidence, and now it's a more athletic thing. Like now it's actually a workout. And for me also, like, so I do CrossFit, and so I do a day of CrossFit, a day of swimming usually. It's good on my joints, and it keeps the intensity high for me when I do CrossFit, and I can also get after it in a very intense way also when I swim. And it's a great combination.
Yeah, that's really important for kids too. My kids were terrified of the water too, and they cried a lot in the beginning for a long time. For a year they were terrified of the water. But what's cool about that is now your son's been doing it for 4 years. He learned that he's earning his wings, right? No one's giving them to him. Everything now that he's good, he had to earn it.
And he's also very proud of himself. Like I think a lot of people would always tell me as a father, you're so proud, and I am. And I don't want him to hear it. I want to pick up in a second. I adore him, but it's not the goal for me. The goal for me is for him to be proud of himself, and he is. It was actually like his thing. He wanted to learn how to ride a bicycle, and my OCD with sports is I got him on a bicycle every time I saw him, and he fell so hard, blood, sweat, and tears, literally. And he was so proud of himself for being the only kid who drives a bicycle, no wheels. So that's special for me that he's proud of himself.
Yanir, let me ask you one question before you got to go here. Have you gotten any of your patients into CrossFit? Have you ever had a patient come in who's a fat tub of shit and you're like, hey, buddy, you got to do CrossFit?
I'll tell you that. I was a coach at a CrossFit box. I'm just looking for him. I want to take him. He's gonna finish in a second. So I was actually a trainer in a CrossFit City of David in Jerusalem, and most of the people there are either medical. I mean, not most, but a lot of them medical students and like medical people. And in terms of patients, so I'm an eye doctor, so it's very niche. It's not something that I don't get to talk about general health quite a lot. So I wouldn't say necessarily that I get them into CrossFit, but like, I don't know, maybe they see what you saw, and I get this a lot of comments of, oh, you work out, you probably work out. And I'm like, yeah, so what do you do? I'm like, CrossFit. What is it? And then I have this like 1 to 2 minutes of conversation, and I let them know about it.
Awesome, brother. Thank you so much. I look forward to talking to you again, Yanir.
I'll try to get on with the 12 million. This is we wanted this. We've been following you, and this is very special for me to be here.
Get my number from your brother, and will you text me?
I will. You better be sure I will.
Okay. Thanks, brother.
Thanks, brother. Thanks for having us.
Ciao.
Bye.
Brothers in Israel, CrossFit in Israel. Next, I'll get a CrossFit gym in Gaza. All righty. When do you travel? Oh, good question. I think I have to get my rental car today. All right. What do you guys want to talk about? Do you guys have any ideas of anything you want to bring up? Wow. That he really does get videos taken down. I was just texting with Tyler, the flat earth guy, the guy who has the biblical cosmology, and he was showing me a video that he had taken down that he made about Michelle Obama. That's wild. I wonder if the video we did yesterday has a warning on it. Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, Sevi.
Hey.
Great call today and yesterday. The first half an hour I missed yesterday and listened to the second 3 or 3.5 hours. Did the fittest flat earther, did he think this, do we live in a dome? Is it made of like scaffolding by humans? I missed that part.
We didn't get, to be honest with you, I didn't get into any really specifics with him. I didn't drill down like, hey, how is it that helicopters, you know, we didn't have the debate. Like how does it all work? I didn't like, usually us people who think the earth is round, we have all these questions. We think we're so smart. We're like, well, what about those pictures from space and it's curved? And then they're like, well, it's the camera they use. And then we're like, well, what about, I didn't get into any of those. It was more just like it was very surface. It was cool because we covered a lot. And normally I wouldn't say surface is cool, but just my impression, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but my impression is that he thinks that the firmament was built by God. Basically, he was standing in front of something, and he also showed me some pictures, and it looks like there's layers. Like basically, like we're in this thing that's like the Truman Show, and then above us, that dome is like layers. There's like 6 or 7 layers, and like some of the layers have stars in them, some have planets, and then sitting on top was a chair, and that's where God sits, if I recall right.
And so when I fly to like South Africa, I'm flying inside that scaffolding.
Yeah. What's the word you're using?
Scaffolding, like I'm thinking like staging for the sky and stars, like something. What's holding it up?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Just something that God made.
I'm open-minded to all of it, but that's kind of where it ends for me. I mean, there's not enough material in the world to go that big around the whole world.
Right. Well, I mean, maybe they just got materials from other planets and other stars and shit. There's a lot of shit out there. Maybe, you know what I mean? I don't know if that thing was man-made. Well, anyway, that's a good question. I don't know what made that thing.
4 hours with him. That kudos to you.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I sat through all of it. So, thanks, Sevi.
Someone sent me. Someone diagnosed him with something. disorder where it started with an A. I can't remember the name of it, but they diagnosed him with a disorder where people who make connections where there are no connections. And I thought that, but of course that's man-made. You know what I mean? I mean, all disorders, diagnosing them as man-made. But I thought it was interesting that someone went there.
Next time you talk to him, you got to ask him how are barbecues and Christmas with his family. I got to know how that goes with the in-laws and.
Yeah, I listened to another podcast with him where he talks about his relationship with his wife and how his waking up really caused a lot of trauma, but that things have settled down. Yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, I don't mean this as a put down towards Tyler at all, but imagine just being just a regular fucking meathead who goes to work 9 to 5 and all of a sudden, and your wife, fucks you 3 days a week and sucks you off the other 2 days a week. And then all of a sudden your wife becomes a Jehovah's Witness or some shit. And all of a sudden she's like, hey, I don't know what their rules are, but some religion where all of a sudden, shit goes sideways for you. I mean, shit could get weird.
Yeah.
Quick.
Yeah. But now the joke might be on everyone else if he's making a living doing it. And it sounds like he is.
Yeah, that part's awesome. I had a friend who was married to this chick that was basically like a porn star. And he fucking loved her to fucking death. And she found Christianity and it just fucking ripped them apart. He was devastated. He loved her.
Why can't you do that stuff if you're married and you're a Christian?
I don't know. I don't know what the rule is if you can put a cock in your mouth if you're fucked her. You can do all that and still go to heaven?
You can still get you can get to heaven by through blowjobs.
Okay. All right. My bad.
All right, Savvy, thanks a lot. Okay. Great couple days.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
Jesus always ruins porn. I don't even know about porn, but you can. Okay. All right. You two are one flesh. Okay, my bad. Jesus. I'm so judgmental. Is everything on Twitch a bot? Are all the viewers on Twitch bots? You guys want to talk about Emmetol? Hey, I kind of hesitant to talk about her because I'm definitely not going to get riled up. But I saw after Lazar died, I saw her and her beautiful husband. What was his name? David something? Big black dude. Looks like a supermodel. I saw them. I was sitting in a Starbucks in downtown Fort Worth, and I saw her walk by, and I didn't even recognize her. She looked like she was in so much pain. Shrunk, yeah. She looked like she was in so much pain. I mean, if I hadn't seen him and she didn't have that, unique physique, I wouldn't have recognized her. Her face was so contorted and she was in so much pain. I think however she processed Lazarus' death, really like it broke her off. I mean, it really broke her off. It's dull now, all this out shit. I haven't seen this many men saying they're out since gay marriage became legal. Dan Guerrero, when does Behind the Scenes come out? Before or after GTA 6? What's GTA 6? Is that the don't tell me. Grand Theft Auto. Yes. The thing it's basically I'm just fighting with Dave, and it's all politics over there, Dave and Jenna. But basically it is going to get released. Basically I'm trying to come up with a plan. It's just all politics, right? Like I don't want to do anything to piss them off and then not get access to the games. But if I don't get access to the games, then fuck it. Like, at the end of the day, it's like whatever. But it's kind of like it's not like I'm desperate. I mean, I would kind of like it if I didn't get access to the games and I didn't get to go. I think part of me would be really happy because then I could just stay home and just watch it at home and cover all the shows. But and maybe me even talking about it, that it's hung up and that it's political, maybe I'm hoping it'll get me in some sort of trouble so that I won't get to go. But I'm gonna release it for sure. It's just, when am I willing to say fuck you to them? Do you know what I mean? I want to try to play it smart. I was thinking about releasing like episode 6 or something, or 5, releasing one of the latter ones first, and just stuffing it behind the paywall and like not ask anyone. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out, but it is something I talk about every couple days, and I appreciate you asking. And it's really, really good. It's not good in the traditional sense of like the ones that were good like in 2013 and 14. But the pictures are worth 1,000 words, where I felt like in the past the behind the scenes were more about the words and the interactions. This is more like, wow, this is what it was like back there during that year. If that makes sense. Mike Sandone. The athletes are so incredibly self-important, they completely misunderstand their importance to the sport. We don't really care. We're accustomed to change. Athletes come and go, and athletes come and athletes go. Yeah, I know. It's a trip, right? Sevon, do you know who's buying CrossFit? No, I don't know who's buying it. I don't think anyone knows who's buying it, but there are several suitors, and they're being. I'm getting the impression that they're being pit against each other, right, to see who's going to pay the highest price, and they come from all sorts of different. There's, a rich guy here, a rich group there, and then bankers over there. And I don't have any evidence, but I suspect that the bankers who want it, and when I mean bankers, I mean one level probably even worse than VC or private equity. The bankers that want it, I suspect they will immediately destroy it. Like they have like that will be the first that will, Eric Rosa actually, cared about CrossFit at whatever level he did, and Don's a CrossFitter. At least most of the bidders are people who care about CrossFit, like they're interested in it, like they're excited about it, the way like maybe a football owner would buy a football team. He likes football. But I suspect one of the bidders has no interest in CrossFit other than to pull it apart. And I to pull it, to somehow part it out. You know what I mean? And to just make money from it, whatever that means, whatever parting it out means. I don't know if it's the trademarks they want, or I don't know what they would do. But that doesn't. I don't know. To me, honestly, to me, it doesn't really matter. I think if one of the groups of people were to get it, somehow my role would change. And I think the other two, maybe it wouldn't, or the other 3 or 4. And I don't even know if any of this, what I'm saying, is true. Like, I don't know who the real bidders are. I have to just make it all up in my head, based on just clues. But if for some reason this thing gets fragmented out, I think it just reappears somewhere else, with 5,000 affiliates. So, can you buy it with Greg's money? Here's the thing. I have no interest. So who was it who said the athletes are so self-important? Yeah. Sevon is so self-important that he talks about himself in the third person. I already have everything that CrossFit has, except the seminars. I mean, to me, I already have everything CrossFit has except for the seminars. I mean, I don't understand what more. If I wanted to, I could just start my own fitness program. I would just use, Sentinel training, and I have a programming show, and I already have my own game show, and I just I'm already there. It's the cool. I hang out with all the coolest kids on the block. Everyone trusts each other. Everyone's in love. It's a giant agape festival. I don't know. For my little fiefdom, everything else looks like a joke to me. And not in a, I was going to say not in a bad way, but no, in a bad way. So I'm just, we're getting ready to take over and be the voice of Europe, the Sevon podcast. So, a lot of people, Greg used to tell us CrossFit's a media company. And like, I don't know of any other, bigger media entity, than what that guy Sevon's doing. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just self-important. I have no interest in, in doing that, unless it happened naturally. I mean, I wasn't trying to build this thing over here. It just happened naturally. So, it just happened because that's just, we're going down river, and those are the things we're just picking up along the way. So maybe one day I would have a seminar, but shit, what more could I ask for? I have a good relationship with the greatest who ever did it. I have a good relationship with the founder. I have a good relationship with the people who sell, that have the warehouse that sell the equipment. I have a great relationship with the guy who invented the games. I don't know. I mean, how bizarre is it that Greg comes on this show every Wednesday? It's crazy. In hindsight, was you getting fired a blessing? Dude, not even in hindsight. Like, okay, in hindsight. Dude, my life is so fun. Yesterday I learned about the flat earth. Today I learned about Israel. You're the kid at the beach digging a hole in the sand. Other kids have come along to help you dig, and adults are all starting to watch how deep it goes. Yeah. Thank you. Exactly. So, you have a great relationship with Fraser. I do have a great relationship with Fraser. I'm always open to Maddie coming on the show. Always open. I'm always open. And hey, the truth is, even though Nico said there is no truth, at the very tip of that spear, the most important thing is 251 people watching the show right now. That's it. We're just doing our own thing over here. No sugar, no refined carbohydrates is our motto. Off the carbs, off the couch, do our best. Treat other people good. Hope that Jesus is real and he saves us, some of us. Just shit like that. You know what I mean? Love women. That kind of stuff. We even have our we got everything. Damn, I had a slice of cake last night. Shit happens. Be compassionate, my son. You are forgiven. Be compassionate towards yourself. Do you really care about us, though? Hold on. I'm going to look up care, Standy, for you. Hold on. You mean, like, is it, like, what would be the other reason? Like, it's just 100% selfish? I'm going to see care. Care definition. Listen, the provisions of what is necessary for health, welfare, maintenance, protection, oh, yeah, I care about you more than you ever know then. The provisions of what is necessary for health, welfare, maintenance, protection of someone or something. Yeah. Like, I care about you beyond 99%, if that's the definition of care. Serious attention or consideration applied to doing something correctly to avoid damage or risk. Yeah. Yeah. If any of you ever reached out to me and you needed something and I thought I could provide, like, even if I didn't think I could provide it, I would want to provide it. I'm a giver. Yeah, I care. On that level, I care. Completely superficially, I care about you guys so much. I want you guys to be healthy and strong, and I want you to be here every morning and hang out with me. And yeah, I want you to be sick. I want your kids to be happy and healthy. I would cry if I heard stories of bad shit happening in your life. Like, I guess that's what caring is. Here we go. We're in full confession. Here we go. Corey Leonard, welcome, my son. I ate a cupcake Saturday because I hate Jake. hate eating. Just hate eating. Oh, I bet you it was Jake. It's an Italian pastry that you could eat during sex, I guess. Listen, that is the one thing. He said Arab culture is cool. Arab culture is so fucking cool and the food is good. But desserts in the Middle East are horrible. You ever gone somewhere? And I'm not talking about those scummy Starbucks scones, but you ever got a scone from like a hippie bakery? And it's just like eating just like chalk. That's how all the desserts are in the Middle East. And then when they add sugar, they don't even know how to do it. It's just gross. Like they'll just dip a piece of dough like in syrup or something. They do not know how to make desserts. Yeah, Arab dessert is so gross. Yeah. All the Middle Eastern, baklava sucks. I agree. I grew up eating that shit and pretending like I like it. It's just stupid. It's all crumbly and shit and sticky. And it's like, hey, fuck you. We have Snicker bars. You know what I mean? Like, get the fuck out of here. Baklava. Oh, please. You're just supposed to say that. Baklava is not so good. Who the fuck puts pistachios on dessert? And it's that flaky bread shit. And as a kid, you have to pretend like you like it. You get so excited because you get sugar. It's like the worst deployment of sugar ever is Middle Eastern food. Middle Eastern desserts. The food's amazing. The food is like 1,000 times better than our food. But yeah, Snickers equals freedom. Yeah. Like, what are you going to do? How are you going to compare with the Three Musketeers bar? Like, get the fuck out of here. Or a donut. Winchell's or Dunkin' Donuts, or what are those things? Or Frappuccino. Was that the one who had a dog that killed itself? Someone's dog killed itself? Yeah, Jethro. Food 9 out of 10. Dessert 2 out of 10. Dessert. I mean, yeah. I bet you South America has the best food. I bet you I was going to say the desserts down there suck too, but churros are good. Churros are fun. Churros are more though. Churros are more, the shape plays a big role in that. I like the shape of a churro. All right. I'm done talking to you guys. What else we got? We don't want to, I think Emmetall's like too damaged to talk about. I don't let someone else talk about her. God, I have so many Bible notes in my notes. Remember last week when I was into the Bible? I have to erase all those. That was just a fad. You guys want to talk about how fucked up the United Kingdom is? Oh, here's something I saw. Okay, this will give me a second to drink some coffee. Listen to this. I had no idea. This is do you guys know why RFK's voice is the way it is? I didn't know this story. I knew it was like some sort of spasmodium disorder he had, but I didn't know how he got it. And I came across this the other day. Here we go. By the way, Woody Harrelson is full retarded. I saw some clips of him on Joe Rogan. He needs to lay off the weed.
During our time with Kennedy, he shared with us his love of rock and roll music and his frustration battling a rare medical condition which affects his speech.
My voice got turned this way. I got a disease, a neurological injury in 1996 when I was 42 years old. And it's called spasmodic dystonia. And I never knew what happened. The doctors would ask me, did you have a trauma? And then about 3 years ago, I was litigating against the flu vaccine. I was preparing a complaint against all the companies that made flu vaccines, certain kind of flu vaccines. And I had to, for the first time, look at all the list of side effects that are on the manufacturer's inserts. And this disease, spasmodic dystonia, was one of the top injuries.
During our time with
He had a fucking flu vaccine injury. He's faking it. Hey, you know what's wild? Just look at this. Like, we're in such a different era of politicians. Like, when do you ever see an interview with the politician? He's carrying, is that a poop shovel he's carrying or a poop bag? And he's on a walk with his dog and doing an interview. It's so unstaged. Everything's so unstaged. Did you see Kash Patel's acceptance speech? It was wild how real he was. Wouldn't it be weird? I wonder what the affiliates do if JP Morgan bought CrossFit or what's it? Lehman Brothers. What's the other one? Or Goldman Sachs. I was going to say Saks Fifth Avenue. God, it's crazy. Now that I think about it, it's crazy that someone hasn't started something new. Because I don't even know how they're hanging on with like just Berkshire. It's weird. It's weird. That's how strong the brand is. I remember one time an executive at CrossFit told me, it's like, man, this brand has sat on so many grenades and it just survives them all. Sevy's going to blame a vaccine for his nose. Sevon gets the same voice after deep throating Castro. My favorite cough medicine. Fuck around and find out. More and more. More and more. Welcome to the home of the British Empire, the United Kingdom, where at birth they take all of your testosterone and send it overseas. Emmetall thinks Lazar was killed on purpose. No shit. Did she say that? What? Wow. Yep. Here we go. Here we go. These fucking this shit is listen, this is what's crazy. I'd rather have the cops I'd rather twice a year have the cops kill someone because they're black or because they're Jewish, which has never happened in the United States ever. But I would rather have that happen, just like they just go to someone's house and kill them than they're Jew because they're Jew once a year, than this, what you're about to hear. This is fucking wild what I'm about to show you. This is the United Kingdom. This is England. Last week. Don't forget, Muslims are allowed to pray openly anywhere they want in the United Kingdom. Here we go. Unpaid volunteer officer.
You're allowed to do anywhere.
No, miss, you're not allowed to sing church songs outside of church grounds, by the way.
You're not allowed to sing church songs outside
of church songs.
In the United Kingdom, you're not allowed to sing church songs outside of church grounds. That's what that lady just said with the popo hat on. She's a Bobby.
You're not allowed. That's fine. You're not allowed. She just said you're not allowed to sing church songs outside of church.
Our church outside of church grounds, unless you have unless you've been authorized by the church to do this kind of song.
Are you saying that you don't care about the Human Rights Act? You're lost.
Freedom of speech, the ability to express yourself.
The citizens of the UK have allowed the erosion of free speech. She's not a copper. She's a volunteer. Well, then she should just fucking drop on her knees and blow the guys in the back at the base instead of fucking talking. She has no power, dude. Listen to me. Listen. The island that fucking rules you guys hates you and hates freedom of speech. And until some of those dudes over there grow a fucking set, it's gonna keep happening. Or maybe we'll fucking make you the 51st state. Who knows? I definitely think that Trump wants a 51st state. I think it's like part of his what's that called? Legacy. Yeah, they're not the US. They don't get to have free speech. You need to trust me here. I trust you. Bro, I trust you. Don't get me. I trust you. But I'm just telling you that happened in the United Kingdom. And it's bad there. It's really bad. You know what's so bad? It's bad there like it's bad in like Portland, Oregon. This policewoman was wrong and got reprimanded. Yeah, sure she did. Sure she did. Okay, fine, she did. But still. That's some pretty fucked up shit with people with authority, even though they're a volunteer. She was hey, Jake, that was a cop that was with her, right? That was a Bobby. Bobby, you call him Bobbies? Bobbies. What else I got here? Oh, here we go. You'll like this, Jake. Don't worry. While you guys hate on white people, we're just hating on Asians over here. Man, the left really hates Asians. They really hate Asians. The left thinks blacks are dumb, but they hate Asians. It's crazy. I don't know what's going on with them and Asians.
Teen hired straight out of high school by Google as a PhD level software engineer, yet he was rejected by most colleges he applied to, including 5 UC campuses, even with a 4.4 GPA and a 1590 out of 1600 on the SATs.
For those of you who don't know, the highest GPA you can get is 4. This kid got a 4.4. I don't know how some special class he took for Asians only. And then to get 1600 on the to get 1590 on the SAT means that he got a perfect score on like the hardest test there is.
Some of them were certainly expected, Stanford, MIT, it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
But for some of them, like Cal Poly, some of the state schools, I really thought, I had a good chance.
His name, Stanley Jong, and he and his father just filed a lawsuit against the University of California and the U.S. Department of Education. The Jongs allege that UC is engaging in racial discrimination in admissions despite the law banning the use of race in the process. I want to show the UC statement to us when we inquire. They call these lawsuits meritless, and they also say the UC undergraduate admissions application collects students' race and ethnicity for statistical purposes only. The information is not shared with application reviewers and is not used for admission. Some people.
We're all told when we apply to try to pick a square that's ethnic. So like when I applied to UC Santa Barbara, I just clicked the box Asian because Armenians are Asians. Well, we're in Asia. Armenia's in Asia.
People might look at this and say, look, Stanley is working at Google, making good money with a dream job that top university graduates aspire to. Why does he want to be a part of this?
Anyone who would ask that's a fucking libtard. It's none of your business. It's none of your business. That shouldn't even be taken into consideration. Well, what does he care? He got a great job at Google. It's none of your business. If he wants to go to school, he wants to go to school. He should have the right to go to school based on merit-based acceptance.
And for you, some critics might be, why are you not letting this go?
There's a bigger story here. First of all, I think the story is bigger than Stanley himself and bigger than myself for sure. And what we're trying to get out of this is a fair treatment of Asian applicants going forward, including my other kids and my future grandkids.
A Palo Alto teen hired straight out of high school.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. And hey, if you don't think that this is true for any reason, ask anyone. Find someone who works at a college in like the admissions office, or even the accounting department. Find someone who works in the accounting department in a big university. It's 100% protected. The hierarchy of giving things to people or signing contracts with people or admission or jobs, it's all in a hierarchy of protected class. And the Asians got fucking thrown into the I wonder if there. I would love to see an updated list. I wonder what it is for February 24th, 2025. I wonder if they're like below white men. Her shirt distracted me. I looked at her shirt. Really, I just thought, though, she's Asian. She must be struggling because she's for sure a libtard from ABC News. A bit of wisdom from Jake Chapman. It's not even really wisdom. It's more like algebra. Dear ladies, if you know a man who loves girls with huge arses, he has a big willy. I wonder what the accuracy of that statement is. He's not alone. My son's Asian friend, valid Victorian high GPA, denied when another graduate with a lower GPA was accepted. He was Hispanic. Yeah. Yep. Yep. I'm loving the Doge shit. I'm just loving the Doge shit. I was listening to some Democrats the other day. I was watching MSNBC or something, and they were like, "Hey, we're all for the cuts, but it needs to be slowly, and it needs to be each person needs to be interviewed, and people are losing their jobs who are good people, and this needs to be done with precision because we're hurting people who are getting caught up in these mass firings." And I'm thinking, you guys didn't give a shit during COVID. There was no chance of any child dying from COVID, and you deployed the vaccine to children 6 months old. You don't give a shit about precision or finding out who needs what. I can't wait till I can't wait till they shut down an entire department. I really hope that they just get rid of a few departments. All right. I think I'm done here today. I got nothing. Okay, fine. One more. Does anyone here know any retarded people? Let's fact check this one. This one should be fact checked. This should have a note from Instagram. This is the biggest crock of shit I've ever fucking heard. Here we go.
Today, being retarded means leading a full life. Retarded people go to work or school just like their neighbors and come back to a real home, a supervised home, right in the neighborhood where they belong. Being retarded never stopped anyone from being a good neighbor. Today, being retarded means leading a full life. Retarded people.
You are not leaving a full life. It's a fucking hard life. That shit ain't easy. It is not an easy task. It's not an easy task for them. It's not an easy task for their loved ones.
Go to work or school.
And they don't go to work or school. They don't go to work or school. You've seen them. They're the ones who are wiping the tables at McDonald's, and they're wiping the table at McDonald's, and then there's someone next to them who's just slightly less retarded than them, who's like a recovered crack addict who gets paid $17.50 an hour to watch them wipe the tables. And then 90% of the time, they don't even let the retards wipe the table. They wipe the table for them. It's this fake like assimilation. They have it at my kid's swimming center. This person walks around with a disabled person and is like trying to like somehow assimilate them into some sort of job at the swimming center. And I'm not against it. Like, you know, I'm not saying I'm against it. But don't act like that there's not like some high level of there's not like some high level of contribution. It's like it's more like a feel sorry fest. Like if I'm gonna do something with disabled people, I want to set them up for fucking success. Like start a disabled swim team.
Just like their neighbors. and come back to a real home.
A real home?
Supervised home.
A supervised home. Do you know who works in these supervised homes? Do you know what it's the caregiver community is the biggest piles of shit. I was in it. I did it for 5 years. It's littered with other retards and rejects. It's the they're not paid shit. It's brutal. I mean, not my house. I ran my house awesome. I treated the homies like they were the fucking real deal. But it's a fucking hard life, man.
Right in the neighborhood where they belong. Being retarded never stopped anyone from being a good neighbor.
I don't know if we made decent neighbors. We lived in between we had 8 units and we lived in between a church and these other college. When we were in a college town, like who knows? A hard life. And these parents that are fucking these parents that are fucking their kids up, these ones that were drinking or doing drugs during pregnancy, crying out fucking loud. Then your kid comes out disabled. What a mess. Anyway, everyone should have that job. Everyone should have that job at one point in their life, helping disabled adults. I showed you guys the video I found of myself online yesterday. Did you guys all see it? With the I think most of you probably saw it. The little short guy getting angry. Oh, this one's great. This is so good. This is amazing. Alleged racial slur typed on black man's receipt. Oh, this one is crazy. I wonder what you guys think on this. If Caleb was here, we would do a poll. This is wild. Watch this. This is amazing. This is a wild story here.
What was the name that you gave him?
I told him Marquise. That's not even close to Marquise.
No, sir, it's not. And I'm gonna go ahead and have a talk with him right now.
Instead of his name, Marquise Vanzego found the word monkeys.
As a black male, we've gone through a lot. Just when you think you're healing from a situation, someone opens that wound back up.
The underage staffer who entered the slur reportedly claims he misheard the name.
Is the guy who wrote monkeys on my receipt, is he available? I want to talk to him.
No, sir, I can't have you speak to him right now.
Is he still here?
The Chick-fil-A restaurant refused to fire the minor employee, claiming it was just a mistake.
What was the name that you gave him?
I told him Marquise. That's not even close to Marquise.
No, sir,
Marquise and the dude wrote monkey. I mean, dude, I say my name's Sevon all the time and no one ever gets it right. When at restaurants, I don't get monkey. It's always like Esteban or Steven. This person says Monquise is super close to monkey. Really was a mistake. Person obviously does not understand the phonics of English. It's pretty close, dude. Yeah, but you're wearing a mask. No one cares what you think. My name is Negus. Maybe he thought that guy was playing a joke on him. I want to see the hey, let me see really quick. Did you guys see any white employees there? What if it was a black dude who wrote it? Let me see. Are there any white employees at this place?
I'm gonna go ahead and have a talk with him right now.
Instead of his name, Marquise Vanzego found the word monkeys.
As a black male, we've gone through a lot. Just when you think you're healing from a situation, someone opens that wound back up.
The underage staffer who entered the slur reportedly claims he misheard the name.
Oh, there's a white guy.
is the guy who wrote monkeys on my receipt. Is he available?
There's a white lady.
I want to talk to him.
No, sir, I can't have you speak to him right now.
Is he still here?
The Chick-fil-A restaurant.
He's leaving. He gets his ass beat outside. I sent a DM to the president of In-N-Out yesterday. I want to try to get the president of In-N-Out on the show. They call her the heir to the In-N-Out throne. Saw her in an interview. I'm like, man, that would be awesome to have her on. I got those. Do you remember Taylor got a new sponsor, some beef jerky company? It's like beef chips or something. What is it called? High Ground. I got these the other day. High Ground beef chips. Is that what it is? They weren't cheap either, but my kids. I actually filmed my kids. Avi's making a video about it, and we did a taste test on it. If you, this stuff's crazy. My kids devoured it. My kids devoured $66 worth of beef jerky in like 2 sittings. There's only 3 ingredients in it. Subscribe and save. Beef chips. Oh, that's interesting. I got this one, the $66 one. Oh, it's only $58 if you get a subscription. Anyway, crazy source of protein. It's just salt. I think it's just salt and cayenne pepper. And I think the dudes are I think these are 2 mill dudes, yeah. Dylan and Josh. Anyway, I'll probably order again. Maybe I'll get a subscription. Mr. Jake Chapman, that's a lot of 66. That's 66. That's 2 lots of 33. Oh, shit. Oh, man. Ex-operators. What does that mean? Like they were like SEALs or Rangers or Delta Force? Is that what it means when you say operator? Anyway, my kids absolutely loved it. I'm gonna release a video about it. I'm teaching Avi how to edit and film and all that. He's made a bunch of cool little movies. So I had him read these guys' story, and then I had them sit at the counter, and they opened it up, and they tasted it, and they ate it, and they loved it. They thought it was a little spicy. I didn't think it was spicy, not even a little bit. I wouldn't put Rangers in that category. All right. It means they used to answer phones. Special forces. Oh. I'm an operator. I'm an operator of God. I'm a special forces operator of God. Who superficially cares about you guys. Okay. We did Marquise and Monkeys. We got rid of that one. We did the Obama library already. Do you remember that story about the firefighter? Oh, let me see if I can find that story. That story is developing. It was that chick's. Oh, Yolanda. Oh, yeah. It auto-populated. Let me see if I can search this again. Yeah, this it was this chick's wife. So this fire captain, you probably saw her on TV during the Palisades fire. I think she's a captain. Wife wanted in stabbing death of San Diego fire captain Yolanda Murati, 53, also known as Yolanda Olenjenzak, was identified as the suspect in February 17th stabbing murder of her wife, Cal Fire Captain Rebecca Marodi, 49. Yeah. So this chick married a chick who had already been spent 11 years in jail for killing someone. And then last week, fucking A, her convict wife stabbed her to death. That's the story. I mean, it's not proven yet. Allegedly stabbed her to death. They can't find her. The two had been married for a little over 2 years. She spent the wife had already spent 13 years in prison, which included additional time for the use of drugs and alcohol in prison. She was paroled and released from parole in 2015. I think she killed her husband. That DEI hire had been a firewoman for 30 years. Dude, imagine how long the blade would have to be to fucking kill someone like that. Like how many layers of just fat you would have to go through. I guess unless she slit her throat. Oh, they're saying she had some sort of connection with the cartel? No shit. Let me see. Let me type in cartel next to it. Oh shit, it was the Fire Cat. She was in Ramona. I think that's where Brand X used to be. That CrossFit Kids headquarters used to be. I don't see anything about the cartel. But I want it to be. I want it to be true. I'll keep looking. Oh, she tried going to Mexico to escape. How did you guys find all this? I was searching. I was actually digging pretty deep into Google. I typed in her name, her old name. I typed in 2003 murder. How'd you guys find all that? Some old grumpy grid fart is coming at me hard in the barbell spin post. Good morning, pool boy. I'm game. I came on an hour early, so I mean, I guess I can hang out a little bit. Everything seems, everything seems chill inside my house. Oh no, is this your circuitous way of getting me to talk about Emmetol? Oh, is it here? Is it in here? This Emmetol photo? So she thinks Lazarus' death was on purpose? Oh, Nelly. You aren't trying to understand anything. Miss me with your backtrack. I've seen your rhetoric across multiple posts. You have one mission: tear these athletes for their decisions in some way or another. You are on every post with a sparky remark about each one of their decisions. This one referencing death of a person as a talking point. She is not beholden to explain exactly why she is sitting out. Dave isn't driving people away from CrossFit as much as people like you being in the community are. Trust that. I didn't take it as she thinks it was on purpose. I didn't read it like that. And this guy says she's not beholden to explain exactly why. I agree. But if you're going to make a post about it, it's also okay to ask what's up. I'm the one trying to tear these athletes down. Dude, these athletes are tearing themselves down. That's true. That's true. Oh, there's more. This means they should not participate in just about any professional sport. They also think that firing Dave changes something, like firing the Cowboys head coach will make them successful overnight. Can't tell you what she thinks, but I think Dave's behavior following the tragic loss of Lazar is beyond disgusting. His behavior? You mean going in the back room and crying his fucking eyes out? You mean speaking to Luca and asking him if the show should go on? What if he has any opinions on it? Do you ever get tired of the taste of boots? I don't get it. I assume this is sarcasm. Oh, this guy's a world-class hater. This guy right here. This guy fucking loves hating in the comments. I thought this was a black dude. This is a white dude, this Yvonne dude. No, she has years of experience with CrossFit Inc., not listening to athletes. She doesn't have years of experience with that. She's been the center of controversy a few times. She also has experience with HQ's handling of catastrophes, and now she's leaving. I think many athletes have had serious issues with the company, but where could they go to earn a living before now? Oh my goodness. I don't know, Starbucks, 7-Eleven, to a local affiliate. Now there's a new option and athletes are going for them. The tragic death is if Lazar was just the straw for many. All right. Are there more? No, that's it. No, that's pretty civil. No, is there another one, Pool Boy? That's pretty civil. I think that's civil. Those people are. Does anyone ever say what the significant changes are? No. They made a lot of changes. Of course they did. Dear athletes. Yeah. I read what she wrote, and I think maybe she should have just said, "Hey, I'm really bummed, and I can't, and I don't want to be a part of the games because Dave's a cunt." That would have been like. Hey, what would happen if? What do you think would happen if Luca came out and was like, "Hey, we received $700,000 in donations and $3 million from insurance, and as I've processed this and my anger has settled down, I've learned that this is the way life is, and everyone did the best they have, and I don't hold it against the lifeguards, the paddle boarders, or Dave at all." And what if he did that? I assume these athletes at WTF have perfected their plan on how to handle an athlete death at their event. God forbid that ever happen again. The part where she said, "Would you think it's still an accident if you were his friend?" Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. The part where she says, "I know, maybe it's because English is her second language." I don't know. The whole thing was a mess. She shouldn't have. Listen, if you're retarded and you're at the family event, like, go outside and throw the football around with the uncles. No one wants you in the kitchen, like, with your fucking grimy hands, like, in the cookies, and, like, and that's the thing. She doesn't know her place. Like, and she probably doesn't even know. Would you still think this is an accident if this was your friend? And hey, it just shows you how delusional she is. So you're saying because he's your friend, you can be retarded? No, just, we get it. You're hurt. We get it. You're hurt. You don't need to justify being hurt. You're hurt. We get it. But then you conflate hurt with, like, trying to add some logic to it. Would this still be an accident if it were your friend? So you're saying that if there was an earthquake and my neighbors died in it and the house fell on them, I shouldn't say it would be different if it was my house? In what respect? That it would be my, yeah, like, of course. But not to the point where I would be like, it was a laser that they shot from the sky that caused the earthquake or burn it down. My logic wouldn't change unless I was filtering it through some huge pain. Yeah, you're right, Pool Boy. I forgot about that. That is a really weird line. Would you think it's still an accident if it was? Yeah, I didn't read it the way you're reading it. I thought she meant it was just like negligence. Who knows? They're so wounded. Hey, it could be worse. They could live in Israel. A lot worse. I love Craig Howard's take, saying how much better it would be if everyone had rallied together to do the poem in honor of Lazar and how much he loved and lived the sport methodology. I actually thought that was going to happen. I actually thought this is what I thought. I thought the games athletes would go out there, and not that pathetic virtue signaling version that Vellner did, but I thought every athlete would go out there and just be chest pounding and looking up to the heavens and just being like, this is for Lazar, and come together and cry and thank the fans and wave. And I thought that like one of them would take like leadership of that and all of them would jump on board and it would just be this giant like healing celebration. And it didn't. It ended up being a pity party and a giant dick measuring contest for virtue signaling. Sevi, everyone processes death differently. I get it. And they're free to do that. And they're free to do that. But I definitely thought it was going to go the other way. I really did. And when they tell you they don't care what other people are doing, they're lying. Because all those people out there, or a lot of those people out there, were like, okay, he wore the Lazar Jukic shirt 3 times. He wore it 4 times. He wore it 2 times. Did you guys like that when all the flat earthers were in the chat yesterday? We had them over for a kind of like a party. That's kind of cool, right? That went way better than I thought. I thought you guys were. I always was like, oh fuck, my friends are rowdy. You guys were pretty good. I mean, I didn't spend a lot of time looking at the chat, a lot less than usual, but Governor of Maine and Trump spar at White House over executive order related to trans athletes competing in women's sports. When asked if she would comply, Governor Janet Mills of Maine said she would follow state and federal law. Trump replied, "You better do it because you're not going to get federal funding." This is a great exchange. I didn't know this was at the White House. I think all the governors are in the room. Later on, Governor Mills added that she will not be intimidated by the red-headed man. She added, if the president attempts to unilaterally deprive Maine schools' children from benefits of federal funding, my administration and the Attorney General will take appropriate and necessary legal action to restore that funding and the academic opportunities it provides. Just so you know, federal funding does not provide academic opportunities. Look at blue-haired American. Wow, shit. There's a blue-haired Trump supporter. This is crazy. Oh, shit. Okay, I got to go. Okay, here we go.
Understand Maine. Is Maine here, the governor of Maine? Well, are you not going to comply with it? I'm complying with state and federal laws. We are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding. Every state, good. I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one. And enjoy your life after governor because I don't think you'll be in elected politics. Every state has a responsibility to comply with Title IX. They have an obligation, a legal obligation, and we'll be enforcing aggressively. And we're going to be protecting our citizens. We're going to protect. But I understand Maine.
Damn. He put the fucking smack down. Okay, look at this. This blue-haired chick, she has a video that says, "I was a staunch liberal." This is going to be good. Wow, here we go. Just a random liberal on the Sevon podcast. Here we go.
My plea, from the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of my soul. This is my plea to my liberal friends, to my liberal family, to the artists, to the musicians, to the creatives, to the bleeding hearts of the world. I get you. I see you. I was you. Please understand. I know that you think you're doing what's right to save the world, but your hearts and your minds have been hijacked. They've been hijacked and they're being weaponized against yourselves, against us, against humanity, against the world. I was a staunch liberal for a long time. Vegan, Prius driving, married a woman, blue hair, chakras tattooed up my back. And then I realized that my humanity was hijacked that they took my bleeding heart and they tried to harm this planet with my own emotions. I'm begging you to please think about this. We were the left, the liberals. We were the side of the conspiracy theories forever. Big pharma, big ag, food, everything. Like none of us trusted any institution. And somehow in less than 8 years, they got you guys believing that the Hillary Clintons and the Obamas and the Pelosi's of the world are suddenly the pillar of truth and justice. Please hear me when I say we have all been a victim of the mind control industrial complex. All of us. It's called the Matrix, right? Some of us are just waking up to it. Some of us have been awake for a long time. Generations have been trying to tell us for a long time. What I'm begging for you to do is don't listen to the media. Don't listen to social media. Don't listen to Trump. Don't listen to Harris. Don't listen to any of them. Listen to your loved ones. Listen to your friends. Listen to your families. You know we're not racist. You know we're not bigots. You know we're not Nazis. You know that we would never harm a hair on another human being's head. And we staunchly support this man because we've just woken up to what's going on. My plea to my liberal friends and family is please don't believe them. Don't believe either one. Believe me. Believe me. At least ask me why. At least say, Kaylin, how could you have gone from all that to who you are now? If you love us, your friends, your family, your loved ones, if you loved us, sit down and have a conversation with us. Let us explain to you why we turned, why we changed, why we support him. I am not right and I am not left. I'm not conservative and I am not liberal. I'm not a Republican and I'm not Democrat. I am MAGA and I am mega. Make America great again. Make the earth great again. Join us, please. We need you and we can't do it with
her family hates her now. Oh, this poor girl. All right. I give how do I like this post? Oh, down here. Wait, oh, there. All right. Good luck. I appreciate it. One at a time. Hey, dude, that's what it looks like. She just woke up. That's what it looks like. That's cool. No, she's not a wacko. She just woke up, dude. Come on, guys. Just make it stop. Are you kidding me? If I'm her friend, I'm not asking shit. No one got time for that. That's fair. She hasn't said anything yet. I know, but you have to imagine that's just how she woke up. She's basically just imagine she woke up and everyone she's around is like fucking hates the red-haired guy because he wants to give states the authority to decide whether they're allowed to kill babies in the mother's womb or not. That's what it all is, by the way. At the end of the day, that's all. Like that's the. If you're wondering what it's like being like in the United States, the brain, I mean, it's brainwashing, but most of it pivots just on the fact that the liberals really, really want to kill babies in mothers' wombs. They want the freedom to do that. I mean, that's like the yeah, she still has 3 years to go. I get it. Yeah. That's what I think too. I think that's fair. She needs to develop her rhetoric. Yeah, she's a fake blue hair now. Yep. Oh shit, she dyed her hair. She really voted for Trump and no. All right. I don't have a date for Chapman's show yet, but it should be any day. You guys bug him if you don't follow Jake. I don't even know if Jake, is your account public? Is Jake Chapman's Instagram account public? Oh, I typed in Jake Instagram. Jake Chapman. I don't even know if I follow you. Do I follow you? Oh yeah. Is your account if I unfollow you, unfollow. Oh, follow back. Okay. It's Jake Chapman, Jake_Chapman_85. Just type in Jake Chapman and follow him. Hopefully he'll announce. Oh, fuck. The account is private. Never mind. Now I can't. It says I'm on the requested list again. Oh, fuck. Anyway, I don't know where the fuck he's going to announce it then. Maybe he'll start another Instagram account called the Jake Chapman Podcast. But what's the new one? I've started a new one for the show. What is it? Okay, I'm ready. Tell me. Read the chat for fuck's sake. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? I'm doing something. And the time it took you to write that, Barry, you could have written it again. Douche. Help a brother fucking out. Asshole. The bass. The bass. The bass show. Oh yeah, there's that gay European logo. Forward-thinking European logo. Yes, there it is. Oh, it looks better here than oh yeah, that's what it looked like when you sent me. I was dying laughing. Oh my god, I was laughing so hard. God, you Euros are gay. It's just cool. I need more gays on the show. All right. We need equal representation. All right, follow that. It's the dot. Oh, I hate dots. Why can't it just be the base, the base show? Why does it have to have a dot in it? What is that logo? What do you mean? If you were European, you'd get it. It's because you're not European. It means I love your man juice. Yeah, totally gay. So good. Green Floyd. That's exactly what I thought. It is Green Floyd. Oh my goodness. It looks good there though. I like it with the symmetry and I like the A. It looks good here. Here it's awesome. Because here, I like it here too, because if you ever DM me, I'll see that. That thing will stick out. It's this lack of symmetry here. Reminds me of when Miranda Alcaraz had the crooked haircut. I hated her for it. I don't like asymmetrical haircuts. I don't like Fikowski's comb over. He looks like Hitler and shit. Or I'm trying to think of if any other athletes have it. Pink had that shit. That artist, the vaccine, the chick who supported Pfizer. I don't like that. Or I think maybe Justin Bieber had it. I don't like that shit. Dan Bongino for department director, deputy director of the FBI. It's happening. Dan Bongino for deputy director of the FBI. It's happening. The deep state is totally fucked. Oh man, are they ever? So for those of you who don't know, so follow this account if you want to know when the European show is going to launch. It should be any day now. So for those of you who don't know, when there's this laptop, it's called the Biden laptop, and Hunter Biden had a laptop, and he had a bunch of laptops, 4 or 5 laptops, and he was addicted to crack, and he was fucking all these whores and underage girls and all of this shit, right? Just wild, and had guns and hanging out with all these wealthy people, and just basically just a drug addict shit, but with a lot of money. And he's very close to his father, and I'm sure Joe, for what capacity he could be worried about his son, he was worried about his son. And Hunter took his laptops into a computer store, I want to say in the state of Delaware, somewhere up there in the Northeast. It's a bunch of tiny little states in our country. And so he took these laptops into the store and never came back to get the laptops. And the laptop store had a policy that after 90 days, if you didn't pick up the laptop, the store owns the laptop. So the guy goes into the laptop, and the shit he sees, he fucking is like, what the fuck is this shit? Crack, smoking, guns, sex, possibly underage girls, sex, all that shit. So he turns the laptops into the FBI, but first he makes a copy of the hard drives. Oh yeah. And there's an investigation, and the FBI releases a letter, or someone releases a letter of signatures of 51 intelligent Biden laptop. And and they release the the FBI does an investigation, and they say, hey, This is right before he was going to run against Trump for Trump's reelection in 2020. I think, or was it 2020? So this is in 2019. And the investigation says, hey, it's not really Hunter Biden's laptop. The Russians put this together. It's just all bullshit. It's all bullshit. And so you have the president of the United States and then his son's laptop. The laptop showed his dealings with China, the Ukraine. It basically showed that Hunter, the big guy, was getting money, or Joe Biden, the big guy, the president of the United States, was getting money from deals that Hunter was making with foreign countries. I mean, it's as bad as anything you can think of. I have the entire laptop in a book somewhere, and you know what's even crazier? I have there's a link. I wonder if I could do a whole show on the link. There's links now on the internet where you can see every single photo that was on his laptop. You have access to his complete iCloud. It is disgusting. There's videos in there of him like jerking off on pizzas. I mean, there is nutty shit in there. But there's also all the corruption stuff. The fact that he was basically a Chinese operative, and so was his dad, taking money for favors. But look at the fucking people that signed this letter claiming that the laptop was made up, that it was fake. These people signed a letter basically saying this laptop is not Hunter Biden's laptop and it was made by the Russians. Now we all know. But I mean, a shitload of Democrats still don't believe it. They still think it's a Russian laptop. Director of National Security, Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence, Jim Clapper, the director of the CIA from 2006 to 2009 said the laptop was fake. Leon Panetta, director of the CIA, 2009 to 2011. John Brennan, director of the CIA from 2013 to 2017. You don't think there's a fucking deep state? These fucking people signed a letter saying that Hunter's laptop was a Russian-made laptop. National Intelligence Council, Deputy Director of National Intelligence for Analysis, 2005-2008, Thomas Finger. Rick Legett, Deputy Director of the National Security Agency. Another Director of the CIA from 2004, John McLaughlin. Another Director of the CIA, Michael Morrell. Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence, Michael Vicks. Doug Wise, Deputy Director of Defense Intelligence Agency. Dude, Nick Ramosson, look at this fucking psychopath. Director of National Counterterrorism Center. All these people signed. Chief of Staff, CIA, John Mossman, Jew. All these people, just fucking ballers in national intelligence, right? Okay, you see that? Now let me show you this. Let me show you this. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, it's on X. Here it is. This guy is now, I think, second in command in the FBI. I think this guy now works for Kash Patel. And this is an old video. This is an old video. This guy knew what was happening. Here we go.
Folks, they always accuse you of what they're doing. And because they're terrified that their tyranny is not going to continue if Donald Trump wins, they're now doing this simple distraction technique that has appealed to useful idiots for a long time and been used by commies, socialists, Soviets. They've used it forever. They just blame you for exactly what they're doing.
Politico recently spoke with former intelligence officials about how on edge the idea of a second Trump term makes all of them.
Are you freaking kidding me? Are these the same 51 intelligence officers who falsely bullshitted America? These scumbags, every single one of them. You hear me? Absolute scumbags. You don't like the word? Too bad. That's what you are. A bunch of scumbag fuckwads. Fuck you guys. Fuck you guys. 51 of you pieces of shit who told America before an election.
50 former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plan. during campaign season, you want to be able to understand everything that the Russians might do.
This laptop that would have changed the entire course of American history, would have kept the border closed if Trump got reelected, probably wouldn't be a Russian invasion of Ukraine, probably wouldn't have been an October 7th attack either. We'd be living in a different world right now because you 51 intelligent scumbags, knowing you were full of shit the whole time, now you dare, you've got the balls to say that Trump could weaponize the spy services? I'm demanding an investigation if Trump wins into all of these people for a conspiracy to interfere in an election and potentially worse. And Joe Biden's going to be the first target of that investigation. You will never, ever teach these people that deep state lawfare is wrong without exposing them to the same sets of rules they want to impose on us. Someone did steal an election, and Joe Biden was a field general in that war on election integrity. Listen to me. I want an investigation into this conspiracy to steal the 2020 election, and no, we shouldn't let it go. I don't want to hear shit about, oh, it's time to move on. It's not time to move on, or they'll do it again.
It's terrifying. It's frightening.
They stole this damn thing. They hid that laptop information. You know it. We know it. I want everyone as either, they better give depositions, and if they committed criminal activity, I want them charged too. The deep state is real. It's members of the media. It's intelligence community members. Here's the key, active and retired. It's bureaucrats within the government.
Mr. Vindman, you testified in your deposition that you did not know the whistleblower.
Ranking member, it's Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, please.
You testified in the deposition that you did not know who the whistleblower was.
Per the advice of my counsel, I've been advised not to answer specific questions about members of the intelligence community.
It is saboteurs inside the Trump administration last time. The deep state is real. The deep state is real.
Tell me, are you worried about this retribution concept playing out?
They're fucked. They are fucked. Deep State is now officially done. Dan Bongino has joined Kash Patel and is now the deputy director of the FBI. Holy shit. Wow. Oh my goodness. War. Oh, has Pat got his panties in a twist? Where's Pat? Let me see how Pat is. Pat freaking out? Don't, Pat, you're fine. You're fine, dude. You're fine. Don't listen. Run your team. Keep the golf course in shape. Keep making that fat bank you make. Probably drive a 4x4 that fucking gets 6 miles to the gallon. Be cool. I know you got to go home to Nancy Pelosi, Kamala, and AOC, but at least AOC got nice titties. Just be chill. Just be chill. Hey, dude. Listen, hold on. I can't hear you. You want to run the show while I take a piss?
How can somebody that
on?
is as unhinged as Pat say that someone like Dan Bongino is irrational or over the top? I have never, whether it's his comments in the chat or when you talk to him, I've never heard someone who's so unhinged from the moment you say hello. It's like, hello?
Yeah, Pat.
And I'm angry about everything. How can you say someone like Dan Bongino is irrational or can't think? The guy has a really pretty cool podcast, and he's very, I hate saying this, but he's very, he's earned a position like this.
I think he may have been. I think he may have been fucked by Trump too. Also, something. Oh no. Sorry, I think he got kicked off of Fox News for getting too.
That sounds about right. Yeah, I do believe that.
I forget what happened. What did he say?
He probably said something network didn't like, but I mean, does that make him unhinged or
no? He's
qualified
great.
Or bad? He's a good dude, man.
He's great.
And people like him and Kash together. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Everybody you just saw in that video is going to have some sort of charge, some sort of something. We're going to see justice actually finally happen. And to be like, oh, that guy's unhinged or he is this or that. Like, shut up, Pat. Just shut up. I love you, but shut up.
Hey, listen, I love Pat even more now because he's like me, talking about himself in the third person. Pat doesn't freak out. He's enjoying the circus. There you go.
Pat lives in a state of freak out. Like, the guy's his blood pressure has to be through the roof.
Listen, that
he
guy
didn't do CrossFit, he'd be dead by now.
Listen, that guy's living the dream. He fucking sits
I
around.
know.
He sits at a desk that has a John Deere seat and fucking tells Haitians to fucking cut the lawn and makes fun of them all day.
Right. All he does is hire illegal immigrants.
Yeah. He's
They
like,
make money for him.
and he's like one of those dudes who sits, he reminds me of my ex-partner, Matt Bishel, on the Sevon podcast. He's just always just holding a golf club in his hand. Pat's kind of guy who always has a golf club in his hand, a big smile. Hey, can't you see a super big gulp? Like the kind that's like refillable, like the 128 ounce one sitting on Pat's desk with a straw. And it's got Diet Coke in it, and he just smiles and laughs at those guys that come in. He's like bros with all of them, right? All the workers.
Totally.
And he just sits at his desk and he spins around in his chair.
Probably yells and speaks too fast for any of them to understand what he's really saying, bro.
Yeah, and then he takes a sip of his Diet Coke. I see it.
And then he says, "Why the hell are you still here?"
Yeah.
And then they walk out.
And every time, Pat's one of those guys that every time he stands up, he pulls up his pants. You see it, right?
Oh, I see this. Oh, this is perfect. This is beautiful.
And let me tell you, Pat's one of those dudes. The only time, like, he has like 80% of his waking life, he's like happy and smiling.
You think so?
Yeah, fuck yeah. And 20% of the time, he's fucking railing his wife. That's it. And then if he has free time, he's loving on his kids. I'm telling you, the guy's living the dream. I can tell.
I'm sorry.
Game recognized.
Sorry, my boss is yelling at me.
Oh, all right.
I'm kidding. No, dude, are you a flat earther now? Did that get you yesterday?
No.
Didn't convert you? Did it make you one step closer to entertaining the idea, or was that a full blown like, okay, I'm done even entertaining it. I'm done having people like that on my podcast.
No. I would have that guy on a gazillion. I would have that guy on. Hey, really, I would have that guy on. I enjoyed it. I would like to hear about biblical cosmology. All of that shit interests me. There's little
here's the thing. He was
everywhere.
Talking about his people in the chat were dropping these Bible verses to prove. I think like Whitney Davis and a couple other people were like, "Hey, where are these Bible verses that talk about the Earth is flat or whatever?" So it was like Psalms 96:10, Psalms 93:1, Genesis 1-3, and I'm like, I grew up in the church. I know these Bible verses, but let me look them up. Maybe I missed something. You know, maybe my pastor was talking about flat Earth when I was a kid. I don't know. And I look them up, and none of them come even close to saying that the Earth is flat, or even suggesting that the Earth is flat. I'm like, damn, that's a huge stretch to be like this Bible verse. One of them talks about, dang, I forget the exact verbiage, but I'm like, man, the leap I would have to make between reading that verse and then being like, yeah, you're right, the Earth is flat. I don't know. It was like that to me, it was too much of a stretch. So I don't know. I just get nothing out of those conversations because everything is a stretch. Literally everything. You have to. I mean, I think Jake said it yesterday too. Religion can be that way too. Christianity, we call that faith. You know, we make some stretches, but it's all faith. You know what I mean? But that flat Earth stuff, I don't know, man. Everything is a stretch and trying to tie things together that don't go together.
There are these. My sister was telling me the other day that like every question you have about life, like can you get blowjobs or is it okay to eat your dog or just any question you have about life, like the fucking answer is in the Bible. It's just it has all the answers for you. I'm like, okay. And I've been watching tons of Bible. I mean, I kind of stopped. I've taken a 2-day break, but all the Bible people that I've listened to, all they want to do is prove the existence of God and Jesus, and it's all worldly shit. And from my experience, like 95% of the Bible is just worldly shit. And then when you do see wisdom in the Bible, there's these idiots that fucking translate it for you. So let me give you an example. As is above, so is below. And for me, that points directly into the abyss. And if you try to understand that, you miss everything fucking about it. But of course, Someone has to translate it for you and says what happens in the higher realm of a plane of existence is also reflected and mirrored in the lower realm. And that's from the Emerald. Oh, that's not even from the Bible. That's from the Emerald Tablet of Hermes, right?
Yeah.
In the it's like, hey, dude, if you translate, like, you've already separated yourself from the whole. You've taken away the wisdom from that comment by translating it. And so all I'm seeing surrounded around me is a bunch of people who are trying to understand the Bible. And it's like, okay, you're using it for worldly existence. I get it. But inside of there, Jesus is saying some shit that points into the abyss and that shows you the whole, the entirety of it. And I'm just surrounded by people who are just trying to make understanding of it. I was going to tie that to. So when those anytime someone says, it's like academics. Well, it says right here, the Bible people are no different. It says right here that the COVID vaccine is 100% safe. Well, it says right here in Philippians 7 that you shouldn't do this. It's like, dude, like you haven't.
So we're seeing a whole bunch of people swinging and missing
in an
effort
they come at it the exact same way with the presupposition. You have to believe already that their book is truth or that their science is truth before you can even get to that. When inside of that book, there's just these huge fucking beautiful sayings that just point into the abyss. If you just take it and think about it, don't try to understand it. Just repeat it in your head over and over in a mantra, and the fucking portal will open up for you, and you'll be like, oh shit, I get it.
Yep. Many fellow Christians I know, they get stuck. We talked about this the other day. Stuck definitely trying to prove something rather than live something. Just live something, let it shape and mold you. And then through your actions, through how you live, that's usually how people respond anyways, whether negative or positively. Like, all right, cool, I'll entertain what you believe and we can talk about it. Or, hey, I still don't want anything to do with that. People get hung up on that. Like, well, now I need to save that person. I need them to think the same way that I think about. It's like, no, dude, like I've talked to you before about like my perspective on the Bible. Someone laid it out for me a long time ago is you have the gospel, and the gospel is the core of the Bible. In essence, the gospel tells us we weren't perfect, or we weren't good enough, excuse me. There was one that was. He came, he sacrificed himself for us. Our job is to try to live that out, live our gratitude for that out, and then just live the example out, right? Everything else in the Bible, kind of to your point, is like context, or sometimes can be just used as straight up like, I'm gonna take Corinthians, one of the Corinthians, for example, where it talks about wives submit to your husbands. Well, usually people will stop there because that works to their advantage, because then men can be like, yeah, woman, go make me food and do what I say. Not reading further that says men submit to your husbands as a sacrifice, the same way Christ did for us. Well, that's just idolatry right there. You just taken that verse and said, now I'm the man, I'm in charge, and women, you do what I say. And there's many other instances of that. Take the gospel for what it is. Like, you're watching The Chosen, you're watching the gospel, a dramatic version of it, but still the gospel. Everything else in the Bible is for context, for values and commandments, things like that. And that's it. Don't try to push that onto other people, but rather live it out. Just live it out and be it. And then everything else after that will happen. And the last thing I'll say is, like, Christians, the hardest thing that most Christians deal with is people rejecting what they're saying. You have to understand, just like with CrossFit, not everyone's going to want to do it. And that's just, it is what it is. Not everyone's going to want to do Fran. Not everyone's going to want to work out intensely fast. Not everyone's going to want to believe what you believe or the same way that you believe. It's all good. Just let it go.
By the way, so in Matthew 6:10 it says, "Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven," and that's okay. All right. Hey, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Always a pleasure, brother.
You're a good
I'll
dude.
talk to you soon.
Bye. It's the Bible talk. Check that off the list. What the fuck is happening here? Sevon definitely doesn't know our Father. All right. On that note, I'll leave you with that. Love you guys.